Well, I guess we are live. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I think we have a great show for you this evening, which hopefully you'll enjoy. Great show for you. It's been an interesting, very, very interesting weekend, actually. If you've watched a number of YouTube channels, you would have seen much conversation about the football. But I first want to say this. I am Stan Kroenke. I am sitting in for on I Am Sure Sports. I'm supposed to have a co-host with me this evening, but I haven't seen him yet. Maybe he's got delayed. And also, I'm hoping that the owner of the channel, the moderator for the channel, turn up at some point during the program. We'll see how that goes. But it should be an interesting discussion. So I want you to sit down, join me, welcome your comments and perspective. I won't be playing all this advertisement for Manning's man. When he comes in, he needs to do that because I was placing the banner here on this thing and I don't know how to operate it. You know, I struggle with this. I don't struggle with talking though. At least I don't think so. So it should be a really good discussion this evening, actually. We're gonna start off first talking about the EPL results, because we wanna go into the main part of the conversation slowly, which is about the Reggae Girls, what's transpiring with the JFF, perception, perspective, but more around some of the challenges and opportunities that are out there for both sides of this. Because I think people are taking sides. I would have to say most people are on the side of the girls, obviously for various reasons, maybe more aligned to the JFF, their history and how they operate. But hopefully we can all try to be as objective as possible as we go through this. I think objectivity in life is a great thing to be. A lot of times people have their biased views. They make no allowances for somebody else's perspective. They give no credence to someone else's perspective. And that sometimes make dialogue, discussion, trying to get to some kind of agreement, compromise, that's negated because people sometimes fail to realize that there's always multiple sides to a story or a situation. That everyone want to come at us for a situation in the best position as advantageous to them. And it doesn't have to be a complete situation where it's all advantageous to you and the other person gets nothing out of the association, the relationship, the engagement. That doesn't make sense, right? So you would hope that as one goes through life, you try to be as objective as possible. Sometimes the culture that we grew up in, the people that surround us, what we have in our environment, lean to a certain way. As you go through life and you increase your learnings, you become more knowledgeable, you become more experienced, you would hope that you would expand your perspective, which then allow you to make better decisions as you go through life. That's the hope. And hopefully we'll see more of that. But I just want to talk first about the EPL show. I mean, not EPL show, the EPL results. And then we can sort of jump into the more interesting part for a lot of people of the conversation around the girls, the JFF, etc. So if you were to look at the results for this weekend, and I won't spend a ton of time on this because I know people want to get into the juicy stuff. It's like a soap opera or those shows where you get the shows where you have the more privileged of the world, those shows which have a lot of contention in them, drama in them, issues in them. And sometimes it's close to people's heart, some of the issues we discuss about Jamaica, because that's where our focus should be more than anything else, even more so than the EPL. Even though Jamaicans like foreign stuff, actually, just in general. So I'll go to the games quickly. And see, it may have on my Arsenal t-shirt for a reason, right? Because as you know, many of you know I'm a real Arsenal fan. I support the club for a long, long time. And there's nothing like being an Arsenal fan when you're doing well. I'm trying to fix my camera. Nothing like that. So it's been an interesting start so far. But I'll touch upon the Arsenal game, the Arsenal Chelsea game. So just quickly through the list of games played. Liverpool beat Everton 2-0. And Liverpool were the better team. Everton played a low block game, weren't helped by Ashley Young getting sent off in the first half in the 30-something minute. Such an experienced player is a little bit surprising. He got himself 2 yellow cards, especially the last tackle on Diaz. But I think more important in the game is the concept of handball. I have no idea what the handball situation now is in football. It's almost as if everyone expects you to, when you jump for a ball, if you're in any situation in the box, your hands have to be behind your back. I don't know how you jump with your hands at your side. That's not normal, but that's what seems to be expected, right? I don't understand that. But that's interesting in terms of, Keane handing the ball that was kicked on his hand and then get a penalty. And the game went down from there. If you're down to 10 men, the other team get a penalty. It's very hard to recover. And they did not recover. My co-host has just joined, and he has joined with with substantiating the stereotype of West Indians always believing that the time you give them, it puts your half out 1 hour subsequent to the time that they agree to. It's amazing. You think the Jamaican thing, our Haitian thing, our Bajan thing? No. It's Mr. Andre, good evening. How are you doing? I'm throwing words at you. How are you doing?
I am doing very good, very good. I realize that, and I apologize. I was trying to. Well, it doesn't matter. I should have done that before. But
I'm not like Manning's man, who like to talk by himself. You have me talking by myself.
Yeah,
I have the bounce thing of my partner.
I don't like that, so I'm sorry I put you. I placed you in that predicament.
It's all good.
How you doing?
How are you doing? Very good this evening. I was just talking about the EPL, right? There are 2 components to the show, as I mentioned at the outset, which is one is about EPL, the shorter version. The longer version is going to talk a little bit about the JFF and the girls, because that's where the storyline is these days, and about the body, people in the administration, and the girls and how things work, but more around what are the challenges and opportunities that both face. Right. But in the EPL, I was just talking about the Everton-Liverpool game, saying, the game got turned 2 situations. One about the red card to Ashley Young, and secondly about the handball by Keane, which resulted in Salah scoring the penalty, and it went down from there.
I saw the penalty. Yes, I did see that, because he stormed off the field. And I saw the penalty, but I saw it on a tablet because I was busy trying to get my points as well yesterday.
Oh,
yeah. Which I did. The EPL penalties and cards and all of that stuff is kind of. It seems as though it's a free for all lately. Like there's no real the guidelines that exist seems to be confusing to referees, because you're seeing a lot of inconsistencies throughout the season so far. I even saw it yesterday. Today when I watched Arsenal game from yesterday. It seems as though it's so subjective now that you can't, there's always going to be people who think it was a penalty, it wasn't a penalty. It was a card, it wasn't a card. But I tell you what I thought when I saw the penalty being awarded. It felt like a makeup call. It felt like a makeup call from the past couple of weeks. Where
was that the same opponent? So it's not the same opponent.
No, it's not the same opponent, but they've been wrong, right? They lost 3 points as a result of that. So it just certainly does feel that way. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think they make up call like that. I think what's happening is this: if you're in the box and your hands are away from your body and it hits your hand, it's a penalty nowadays. There is no ambiguity in that. And the question is, can that be right? So you will see once in a while someone say proximity determines whether or not I call a penalty, but if you look at the Keane situation, it was pretty close. If you look at the Saliba situation we'll get to, it was pretty close. So it could be a proximity issue. So if your hands away from your body, it hit it. It supposedly divert the ball from its original direction it was going in. Then it's being called a penalty, which to me is not logical because I wonder what happened to the old handball rule and why it got materially changed. Because it seems to have less controversy previous than it does today.
Yeah, because I think if your hands, it depends on why your hands is away from your body. I think that should be taken into consideration. If your hand is away from your body trying to stop the progress of the ball, then I get that. But if your hand is away from your body because it's needed for balance in that moment, because you're jumping, whatever the case may be, and I think that is something that needs to be part of the picture. To just say that your hand is away from your body when you jump, and I know you say you get to the Saliba one, that's the one that I looked at over and over again. It's why your hand is away from your body and the distance. Could you have removed your hands? Right? If somebody else is playing the ball and it comes off of that and it hits your hand, and that's the thing they take away from the game, right? They took that away.
So I think what they've done is the rule has changed, which is because you can't determine intent, it's hard to say why your hand was away from your body. And also, if your hand, you could make yourself wider without seem to suggest that you're intentionally doing it. So I think they took trying to assess intent has been taken out of the game. And it's mainly is your hand supposed in a natural position? Well, it's not natural to jump with your hands at your side without giving yourself some leverage. So therefore, your hands are going to be away from your body, and they're still calling it a penalty. So we'll see what Howard Webb comes up with from the PMLG, or whatever name they call the referee organization, about the Saliba one, which was even more egregious, I think, than the one with Michael Keane. So we'll see what happens. But that was the Liverpool game. Won't talk much about Brentford. They won 3-0. I saw some of the goals, good goals, but Burnley struggling. I think they've only got 4 points. Them, Bournemouth, Sheffield, and Luton are going to be fighting to see who stays up. That seems to be the situation now going to the rest of the season, even though it's very, very early and things could change. So unless one of them beef up really well in January, I don't see much change there. Did you watch any of those games? Did you watch the Brentford-Burnley game?
No. I just saw some highlights from that.
Yeah, the Wolves-Bournemouth game. I think Bournemouth was leading at one point, and then they got a red card, and Wolves scored 2. Didn't really see the game per se. Now I just watch highlights of some of these games that I can't watch them all simultaneously. But Wolves is a good team. I think Neto is playing really well, and he's someone that Arteta has always been liked as a player. So we'll see what happened there if we pursue in the January window.
Yeah, he's Neto is a very good player, and he's one that I'd like to see at Arsenal. I think he'd have been a good addition to that group of players.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but he's a top player in my opinion.
Yeah, I've always been put off by his lack of finishing. You know, he gets by his defender, he gets in good position, but his decision in the final analysis sometimes is lacking or wanting. But it seemed like he's improved his game quite a bit and has played well this season, including against Man City, who's a hard team to play against. Nottingham Forest draw with Luton 2-2. Nottingham Forest leading 2-0, and Luton came back, so they showed some spirit there. I did watch the Man City-Brighton game. I thought City was going to overrun them at one point, but they stick to their philosophy throughout the game in terms of playing up on the back. And they had Man City at the run in the end, actually. It was an interesting game.
Yeah, that's one I'm expecting to watch tonight. City must be feeling a little bit of discomfort at the moment, having lost 3 really before they came into this one, and a long window, and against a team with that type of quality. So they need to get back. But this is normal for them at the beginning of the season, I believe. It's normal that they are a little uncomfortable at the beginning of the season, and then after they get their act together, you know, and win the league at the end of the season. So, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about them.
Well, they've lost some good players, right? They lost the Dungan. They lost De Bruyne for a while. He's been out injured. They lost Rodri for 3 games. So they've had some personal challenges, but they still have a very good team with a very good bench. And Doku has been playing really well. He's kept Grealish out the team, so we'll see if that continues. But they'll have a good bench. They should do well throughout the season.
Yeah, that was they. Doku was a very good addition to that team. You know, you mentioned just now Neto scoring ability or inability, however you want to phrase that. You know, when you look at players like that and like Doku, and I think if you go into an environment where a manager believes that he could improve players, I think that's a massive difference a lot of times. And if where he was, maybe they're benefiting from where he was at the moment, but you get a manager like Pep or Arteta or De Zerbi, or one of those guys who seem to believe that they could improve players and work to improve players, and we see players improving under them. I think that make a difference. That's why I believe he would have been a good addition to that squad, and I believe a player like Duku, you know, he has a lot more to offer in time to come, because he started the league pretty good, and he obviously is going to improve with that group and with that manager.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Doku is if you watch him play for Belgium and in the French league, he goes on these dribbling escapades, right? But I think Grealish is like that somewhere, but he plays a little bit slower. I think where those players improve is in their decision making, right? When do you dribble? When do you pass? What situation you shouldn't go into go down an alley with, and when do you recycle the ball? Because Pep doesn't like to lose the ball. So if you're going to go down this alley, you may lose the ball. That's a negative. So when do you recycle the ball and start again and find where the opening is or the vulnerabilities are in the team you can penetrate? And I think you can see he's playing within himself. He's not going on his escapades and making poor decisions. And I think given his innate ability, his dribbling skills, it will help him as time progresses and his game will improve. And sometimes fear also improves your game because you know your manager can afford to put you on the bench, giving you quality people on the bench, and your manager is the person in charge, not the players. And we'll get to that when we talk about the girls and Jamaica. But the manager is in charge and not the players.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast last week, and I think the name of it was Positionalism versus Relationalism. Somebody, I guess, creating 2 words or adding 2 words to make a point, two concepts. And I think where he played in Spain, I think the way Man City plays is more, and we've seen that with Barcelona. When Pep was at Barcelona, we all heard the story about Thierry Henry leaving his side of the pitch because he believed that he needed to get involved and go into the other side of the pitch to get involved, and he got taken off. Right. So Man City style of play will probably fall under what is being described as positionalism, right? So that will alter maybe a little bit about how he plays. I don't know that I hate to say it takes away freedom, but you have a set of rules and responsibilities in certain area of the pitch that would probably prevent him from going on those runs that you just described as he would do in France. He would do it in a more limited space and in particular areas of the pitch. I don't know, but you know, as you talk about it, that podcast came to mind.
Yeah, no, it's a very structured way of playing. Everybody has their position. They have their space they play in, and you have to map your area and function within the confines of the team. Now, I assume if one piece breaks down, the entirety of the whole structure breaks down. I would think the only person I think would have freedom to do whatever he wants to do is De Bruyne. I think sometimes he and Pep get into these arguments because he may not be functioning as Pep wants to, and they'll have conflict. But he's such a good player, I'm sure he can afford to roam as he so chooses.
Right.
And I see CC here getting carried away, talking about how, you know, any person in the Caribbean who is a Chelsea fan, a Man City fan, who is over 30 years old, is a bandwagonist. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
They're not true EPL fans. So CC, I'm sure you're under 30, CC, even though you may be like Partey, who says 29, but he's probably look like he's at 40. He's saying how difficult to be paid. No, Chelsea spent $1 billion in OCC. They should be good. So we'll get to that game. We won't talk much about the Newcastle Crystal Palace game. Newcastle ran away with that game. Also watch highlights during halftime. I don't think Crystal Palace turned up, and they missed their two best players. I didn't see Eze in the field or Iliosi on the field, so the French kids. So they didn't have their two best players. They lost Zaha in the summer, so their attacking weapons they have are not at their disposal currently. So it's difficult for them to attack well. They always can defend, but obviously Newcastle had fun. I did watch the Man U Sheffield United game.
But before you move there, Newcastle was decisive yesterday.
Yeah.
They were they scored 4 goals, and the way they did it was scary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you can bully those people who don't have enough weapons to fight, you know. When you have somebody that matches up with you, it's a different story. Big up S Technic Skip. So let's go to the Sheffield United Man U game. I thought Sheffield was going to come out with something out of this game, you know. It was a difficult game for Man U. And I was watching Cameron Archer, who I hear have Jamaican pedigree and background. And I'm hoping at some point, because when they're that young, they want to play for England. But he's a very good player. Has a good shot, creative, quick. That's what you need in your center forward spot. Stocky, has some physicality. Would love to see if we can pursue him. So, be interesting. Did you watch that game?
When I miss the games, that's one of the teams that I don't go back and watch. I see them when they're playing teams I like to watch.
It was a good game. They got a good run, actually. They could have actually lost that game. And then we had a Chelsea Arsenal game. And I said this to a friend of mine in the UK about 3 games of the season. I said Arsenal has regressed from last year. And he was like, stop it. That makes no sense. We have bought Rice, we have bought Havertz, we have bought Timber, and we've only lost Xhaka was of quality to the team. And I said, but when you disrupt the chemistry of the team and the flow of the team, and you're not playing as well, because we haven't played well all season. You look at all the games we've played. Apart from the Bournemouth game, I don't think we have had any stellar games apart from that game. And it's very obvious given their performance. Chelsea was a better team yesterday. Chelsea should have won the game. So they got a dubious penalty, the Saliba penalty. They got a lucky goal from Modric. We got a lucky goal from Rice. The keeper, Sanchez, made a mistake. And we scored a very good goal off Saka pass. And by the way, Saka was atrocious for most of the game, even though Robbie gave him a 7.
Yeah.
So he's a Saka fanboy.
If you might get banned from the platform if you go on about Saka like that.
No, Saka was atrocious. He's not been good this season. His stats says otherwise. And that's why I keep telling people about stats, which is take stats in context.
Right.
If Cucurella is going to lock you down and Cucurella is not against defender, then it's your challenge, right? And we won without him against City, by the way. So he's not indispensable. But he hasn't been playing well this season, even though he has the golden assist, which suggests otherwise. But in that game, look at the big chances created. So even with Chelsea's 2, call them lucky goals and our 1 lucky goal, they had a chance where Raya passed the ball to Palmer and still recovered. He should have scored that. Mm-hmm. And then Sterling put Jackson in on goal. And I don't know what Jackson was doing, but somehow Raya took the ball off his feet. So twice the goalkeeper made last-ditch saves, which quality forward should be putting away. If you think about big chances in the game and opportunities in the game, and we didn't create anything yesterday, which is part of my concern, which is we're not creating numerous chances because you know you're going to miss goals. So what's your view?
When you're not creating chances, that's a worry. But I believe that will improve. You always have Arsenal had a very good season last season, as everybody know. Faltered towards the end. I think when that happens to a team, people look a little bit closer as to what the team is doing. The team still doesn't have an out and out striker, right? And that's something that hopefully is going to be rectified in a couple of months. I heard people saying, and I started to watch a game with this in mind, that Arsenal had a shaky start yesterday. I don't know. I watched and I didn't see that. I really didn't see a shaky start. I saw a mistake by Rice after 2 minutes that Arsenal didn't get punished for. I saw a situation that probably this is the inconsistency. The foul on Jesus by Cole Palmer that probably should have been a red card. It was late, and it was that could be that's a very dangerous injury. If that so. But I think Arsenal is going to be all right in the end. Arsenal is going to create chances. They have the quality. It's going to be harder this season than it was last season. It's going to be harder. Now I think everybody's back fit, right? Is that
Yes, apart from Timber, everybody's fit. Yeah.
Apart from
Timber's out for
Timber
long-term
injury is a long-term injury, right? So
right.
I think with everybody else back fit, I think it gives the manager a lot of options. And I think Arsenal is going to be okay. The league, it's 2 points between the top of the table and all the way down to maybe Aston Villa, I think.
Until Tottenham play tomorrow.
Until Tottenham play tomorrow, yeah.
But here's the thing. Arsenal should have gotten a penalty in that game. So if anyone watched the first game of the season between Wolves and Man U when Onana came for the ball and got all the Wolves player, it's the same thing Sanchez did with Jesus yesterday. He got none of the ball. He cleared out Jesus, and a penalty wasn't given. And that also has to be addressed by the referee association. They make too many mistakes. I know where VAR was, because it was clear the player was down, he was injured. You should go back and look and see, was this a foul that was created? And if so, it would be a penalty. And that should have been a penalty. I'm sure they come up with something about that, but it was a clear penalty, which also wasn't given. He cleared out his own defender, he cleared out Jesus, and nothing was given for that play, actually, which was interesting.
You mentioned intent earlier when it comes to the hand, where the hand is, the location of the hand in regards to handball. I think you could see what intent is most of the time. I think the difficulty, there are some occasions where it might be difficult, but that's a very small percentage. I think most of the times you could see that hand move towards the ball or the behavior that suggests. So I think in a lot of these other calls, I'm having a hard time believing that while VAR has helped, I think it has corrected more situations than it has wrong. I have a hard time believing that we have become so incompetent that we cannot get it right the first time. I know the game is faster. I know it's a little bit more difficult, but that's the job, right? The job is that you have to get around the pitch and see these things as they happen.
I do think I've made a statement before, which is the EPL gets some of the best players across the world, best managers, owners with the deepest pockets, best media channels and media outlets. The one thing which is all English are the officials. That's all I'll say about that. So, if you go across the world and get the best people coming to run your product, but the officials are all local, then that means you don't have all the best officials aggregated in one place.
But and the other part of that too, I think it's worth a discussion, because sometimes people do things consciously and subconsciously. I think it's worth a discussion. Could the referee sometimes be influenced by the team they support?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
One
that,
second, Andre. Man is in the background. Should I let him in?
I
Because
think he's
I
fixing
think,
something for us.
oh, so he controls it. So I was going to say I'll have the option not to let him in, but if he controls it,
Okay.
I have no choice. I can't stop him from coming into his own
Yeah.
program. No, you were saying. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a discussion worth having. But could anything be done about it? Because it may not be a conscious behavior. It could be a subconscious behavior because they're human beings, right? And
Right.
and they will make mistakes. I think one of the things that is a little bit difficult sometimes, and you don't want. I'm not suggesting that people are supposed to be in the referee face and make their life difficult. But one of the things that is happening is that I think they have been given a lot of freedom, and they are not being held accountable across all levels of the game. So a referee makes a lot of mistakes, and nobody could do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Right. No, understood.
Yeah, and I think that is making it difficult to have improvement. So
yeah, no, I
every time,
think
conversations about referees are a difficult one.
yeah, the game yesterday, we got lucky. Frankly, we're down 2-0. Cheds at home. They shouldn't allow us to come back and score 2 goals. So they gave us one, and then we created one. And most of the game we didn't create anything. The last game for the weekend was that played today was West Ham against Aston Villa. And I know people are going to say, hey, Cranky, you see Bailey scored? He scored a brilliant goal, actually. So I've mentioned that first because I know I'm going to get that since I'm always commenting on his non-performance for Jamaica. Let's hope he plays for that in the next window in November when he comes to Jamaica. But I thought Villa looked really good. You know, Ali Watkins is an Arsenal fan, right? So we're all talking about Osimhen and we're all talking about Tony. No one's talking about pursuing Ali Watkins for Arsenal. What's your take on that?
Look, he's in this moment. He's doing very well. He's scoring goals, and I think if you can bring in top players if they're surrounded by the right people, and the game and the team plays towards their strengths and create opportunities. I mean, he's a top player as well. You know, he's been doing well today. He was very good today. He's been good. He's been good for the longest while. And that team in particular, without Ivan Toney, people were questioning. Not Aston Villa. Sorry. That team in particular is they've been doing well under that manager, right? So if he comes into Arsenal, those 3 names you mentioned, Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, and Osimhen, I think all 3 of them, they're different type of players. I think Ollie Watkins would fit more. He would fit more with Arsenal because of his mobility. I think his mobility would make him a better fit because Arsenal like to press, they like to defend from in front. But any one of those would be good addition.
Yeah, don't disagree. I think Osimhen is pretty mobile, actually. And Osimhen should have come to Arsenal way back in the Wenger days. That's another miss we have. We have so many misses between Messi and Ronaldo and Osimhen and all of them. Some Ibrahimovic, all of them should have come to Arsenal at some point in time. We always seem to miss some of those big players. Mr. Owner, how are you doing?
Mr. Cranky and Mr. Andre.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, just coming from the games at Draxall. So I am a little late, but you guys are holding down the fort. So we just sent out the link. So you soon see all your fans coming out and thing. You understand? We change up the background.
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed. I know that there's a competing program happening at the simultaneously with us. So I expected that, and they started before we did. So I know it's the same audience that view some of these actually. So
no, man, don't worry yourself, man, because content is king, they say.
Okay, let's see if you have, because you may not be able to participate in some of the discussion. They go get hot. You go get hot. So I suggest you get the silent thing, you the mute button. Use the mute button a lot, actually.
Yes. Cracky, one thing I'll say, big up to all the people in the chat, right? I hope Andreas told you his position.
No, he hasn't told me yet. He can tell the audience. He can tell the audience.
The people, Arsenal fans, Andre don't believe that Declan Rice is good enough to be an Arsenal player. Ben White.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Ben White is good enough to be an Arsenal player. Ramsdale is good enough to be an Arsenal player. And he's still considering soccer. You understand me? So I need some real, because maybe I am living in oblivion or something. Somebody needs to come and tell me if he's okay. But before he gets to crack, look at that.
If we're talking about Jamaica, you have to look the parts. You can't just talk the parts. You have to look the parts. So
listen, I believe that Declan Rice has been one of the best players for Arsenal. I believe so far in the Premier League, outside of Rodri, he has been the best CDM in the Premier League so far. Hands down.
Could I represent myself before you go, Cronky? Because I just come in under attack here now. Okay, so my position is that Declan Rice is not an $100 million player, and Arsenal should not have paid $100 million for him. I believe that there are better options out there, like Caicedo. I think he would have fit very well with Arsenal, and I know that this is a very difficult position to be taken because he's English-born player. So, but I think there are better options, and I don't think Arsenal should have paid $100 million for him. And as time going to go on, I think if we want to be successful in Champions League, I think it's difficult to do that with Ben White and those guys playing at right back. I think it's that's my opinion. Saka is a top player. He will be. He has produced. He's scoring goals, but he's young, and I think he's playing a lot of games in a short period of time, and that could work against him. So that's my position. That's my position.
So I'll make 2 comments because I want to get to the juicy part of the program. Right? I don't extend this too long. I'll make 2 comments.
Like you was working on management.
One comment is that Andre is wrong. We didn't pay $100 million for Rice. We paid £100 million for Rice. The currency difference.
Sorry, thanks for the correction.
Much more than $100 million. Much more than $100 million. But the currency rate is. Secondly, Rice is a good player, but he's lacking offensively. So you bought a one-dimensional player to fill a slot for a player, to me, who has more offensive skill in terms of Partey, in terms of moving the ball between the lines. And by the way, Partey, people don't watch Partey play, doesn't always make the first and easy pass. You look at his eyes when he's playing. He's saying, where can I be penetrative? That put me in the best position to move forward. That's what he does. Most other players make the easy pass first without the most dangerous pass. And by the way, Zinchenko try to make the most dangerous pass all the time, so he gets in trouble all the time. Yeah. That's the difference. Now let's go to the juice.
So hold on, just for clarity.
Yes.
So you agree? Are you agreeing? Because you started by saying Andrew is wrong, but you were talking about the currency. You're agreeing that Declan Rice is not £100 million player.
I don't think either Declan Rice or Caicedo are £100 million players, and the reason why, they are one-dimensional players.
Right, but either way, 100. But I think, what is your opinion?
You pay £100 million for offensive players. You don't pay £100 for defenders.
I agree with you. I have no problem with that.
Midfielders, you don't. Unless they name
look at both players. If you look at both players,
right?
Who you think is more? Who you think would do more for Arsenal in the long run?
Initially, I thought Caicedo. But frankly, I can't differentiate between the two. But they're very similar in their defensive capabilities, and they're very similar in terms of lack of offensive capabilities. Very similar. Not the same kind of players in terms of how they play, but in terms of the qualities you're looking for. Defensively, I think Rice is better than people think and more athletic than people think he is. But Caicedo is just a beast around there. and very, very thoughtful about how he plays defense. He can get into the tackle, he's put a foot in, he can make a pass, but neither of them is good as Partey. Neither of them is good as Partey. And why Partey didn't play yesterday, I assume he must be injured because there's no way he shouldn't be on the field. Anyway,
I agree with that. I agree.
Let's get to the juicy stuff. This is the prelude just got to people. We just give the prelude about Premier League to whet your appetite. Now we want to talk Jamaica football, we want to talk the girls, and we want to talk the JFF. And as you know, Manning's man, for all transparency, Manning's man has some, I'm going to be blatant, some conflict because he has associated with the JFF. He is their interim manager periodically. You should not expect him to talk about certain things that Andrew and I will get into, just for transparency. And we're very transparent here, unlike some people in some organizations. So we will go to the key thing. We're throwing words, we get throwing words. So over the last 2 nights, the night before I was on coach's desk twice in a row. We had some dialogue with Rudolph Speed about the JFF and about the girls. And then subsequently yesterday, Mr. Raymond Anderson was on the program talking about his aspirations and his goal and his push to become the head of the JFF. So we talk about the Reggae Girls first. And as everyone knows, the girls, we have qualification for the Gold Cup upcoming and this coming week. And the girls who were at the World Cup, most of them will not be in attendance at the game. And as everyone knows, the Lauren Donaldson, who was the previous coach for the Reggae Girls, I'm gonna be careful with my words so it's clear. He was fired, but the official statement is, so that's me, how I interpret it. His contract was not renewed. And sometime in life we're cute with words. If you give me a job to do and I'm successful, and then you say I'm not renewing your contract, then I just let you go. Right? So you want to use the word fired, you want to use the more technical and official term of contract not reviewed, that's your prerogative. And he was let go, and I've said this on other people's program, which is around 2 things. One is there was a conflict with one of the ladies on the board. I can't recall her name. I would know all these names.
Elaine Walker Brown.
Elaine Walker Brown, where she was supposedly not representing the JFF to go to some game, but representing the Minutes of Sports. She got on the bus. She was told that, I'm going to use nice terms, her presence on the bus was going to be, I'm going to use my term, this is paraphrasing my own words, distracting, not welcome. They would not like her to partake of the trip. So she was taken off the bus, or she'd have to leave the bus. And she went on public forum media saying, I'm going to use Jamaican term, it nah go so. And when anybody come out and say it nah go so, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Repercussions are down the road. And then subsequently, when Lorne was at the World Cup, espousing his perspective on the JFF, you can put 2 and 2 together and see where this was going. So, Andre, you are, even though you're a Trinidadian, we know you're a Jamaican by heart because most Caribbean people are. I'm going to be like Cataract now.
Cataract gave him citizenship.
So, Andre, what's your perspective on all of this?
Look,
and by the way, the girls, if you're a letter, and the letter is here someplace, we'll pull up the letter and talk to it. But what's your perspective on this whole shenanigans, I'm going to call it, between the JFF and the Reggae Girls?
Look, this type of behavior, this type of conflicts seem to exist in a lot of places throughout the region. I think Jamaica own is front and center because of the nature of the Jamaican people, right? That desire to want to confront injustice, whatever the case may be in this moment. I think, you mentioned the confrontation, regarding Miss Brown, Mrs. Brown.
Andre, do not watch the comment, all right?
You see that?
I'll put it up. Andre. It's past tense, and it's past tense, so it's supposed to have to pass.
The man stopped talking right away.
He's checking his head. He's checking his head to see if he really bumped it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember when I bumped my head. Look, the comments, the coach, we have to understand this. One of the first and the utmost responsibility of a coach, of a head coach, is to be a leader. Okay, and good leaders makes decision and deal with difficult circumstances. If the coach is a leader, the first responsibility of the coach is to lead his team, right? He's responsible for his team. He's got to represent his team with the employers, with the federation, with the owners, in a club situation. So I think to expect to have a coach that does not represent his players and fight for or try to get what is best for his players, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think you're going to find a good coach in the modern game, okay, if that person is not going to lead. And being a leader is difficult sometimes. It seems as though, I heard the comments that because of that situation, you just mentioned it, that it doesn't matter what he did. He was going to lose the job anyway. Look, so who do we want as a coach? Do we want someone that we can tell what to do, that we can push around, that we could tell who to pick and who not to pick? If that's the case, then I don't see how you're going to have success. Is that the situation with the Reggae Boys? Does the Reggae Boys have a coach that could be told what to do? I don't think so. I don't think.
Andre, I stop it, Andre. Two things. One is, in any job that you're in, you can't show disrespect to your boss,
right,
or your supervisors. That's
right.
one. Secondly,
in a
based on
public
what
space.
Disrespect period, public or private, but a public space is even astronomical in terms of perception. Two is, it was supposedly agreed when he was rehired, supposedly that's what Speed said, which is he would avert himself of not making any of those comments in the public, which he made. Suppose there was an agreement, and I don't know if it was officially, contractually, or otherwise, but that was officially made. And thirdly, so think about it. So you're disrespecting your boss, you're speaking out in public, as you probably shouldn't have. The situation with the lady on the bus, Miss Brown on the bus, was not digestible, no matter what the girl's perspective is. If you take all this into consideration, then the question is, how can we then work together? I am the boss, I run the administration, you're usurping my authority. Can we actually coexist? Because I can't really engage with you because we don't see eye to eye.
All right, so let me ask you a question. How it is, and I'm going to use the United States Soccer Federation as an example, how it is, we don't see those type of situations coming out of that environment.
So that's not true, actually.
With
the U.S., the girls sued the U.S. Soccer Federation for equal pay.
Yeah, that's a different situation.
Wait, we'll come to that. No, so there's conflict. Secondly, you see the situation happening in France, Nigeria, Spain. Spain is even more toxic than the situation. Spain is toxic. Some girls didn't go to the World Cup. Some of the better players didn't go to the World Cup.
Nigeria.
France had.
Nigeria.
Forget about Nigeria. We say third world country is going to be challenged. So let's take Nigeria out of the mix. They always have problems. But the more industrialized countries like France and Spain had major issues with their FAs
and England
and the coaches. Oh. England was less toxic, but the situation with France and Spain was toxic. And Spain is toxic with Spain.
Let me ask you this: outside of Nigeria,
right?
What was the conflict with Spain about?
It was with their coach. Remember what point? All the Spain players boycotted the team, all the primary players.
Didn't the Spain team have like almost a different squad that went to the World Cup?
Yes.
Well, no. What happened was some of the other players came in. So they refused to play initially, and then subsequently, before they went to the World Cup, I think more than 5 or plus players who probably in the squad didn't go because they were.
So here the risk that we're doing. I happen to believe that we could do much better in the region, and I don't think because somebody else is doing bad, that means we are doing good. I think that's a real problem.
No, but you are going to use the example of an industrialized
but hold on.
Like the US.
But yes, every federation has something going on. But we're talking about, when you mention the US situation, you mention people trying to get equal pay. Our players are trying to get paid in the Caribbean. Yeah, so what I'm saying? Yeah, they're trying to get paid. So it's all different situation. When we talk about Spain, it wasn't wrong being paid. I mean, that's a fundamental, and that's when I look at it, whether you read the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, whatever it is, in one way or the other, it's written in there, if a man work, he must be paid. If a man work, he must be paid before the sweat on his brow dry. So in the region, and we know we're very religious in the region, and how do we not understand, or how do we choose to not respect those ideals that the religions that we follow tells us? It's written in the book. We follow a lot of other stuff, but why do we not follow that? Why so many federations is failing to compensate the players when FIFA holds a tournament, right? They get paid. When the other confederations, which is a representative of FIFA, they get paid. The MAs get paid. The one constant across the board is the players. The players make all that revenue possible. And yet we are still struggling with the idea of compensating players for the work that they do. I think we need to move beyond that.
I think
so the argument is different.
Yeah, different argument. Yeah, because I'm agreeing with Cranky that there's a different argument. I don't think Cranky, like, I am all for the players getting paid.
Right.
So I think that's a separate issue from what Cranky is raising. Maybe we'll get to the pay issue, you know.
Right.
And that is where full responsibility lies with the administration. Like I said, do not engage people that you can't pay unless they say they are willing to pay for free. We agree with that. However, what we are talking about firstly is how do we manage whatever conflict or disagreement we have, speaking to them without publicly not coming across as disrespectful to the persons who are ultimately in charge. I think that is the point Cranky is making.
Yeah, so there's a disrespect for authority, which cannot be tolerated. Then society is broken.
Right. We could agree with that.
Yeah.
But what do we consider disrespect?
So you're saying, Andre, that the reason why the disrespect is there, where I agree with you, is because the players are not being paid. Because you're saying that if they were being paid, then none of this would be happening.
So if I am the owner of a company, if I'm running an organization, I have a responsibility of creating an environment that is conducive to the people doing their job properly. Do you all agree with that?
But Andre, I'm gonna stop you there, Andre.
No. Let me get.
No.
Agree with that?
Okay, let's say I agree. Keep going, because I want to negate that argument as you go through. Keep going.
If I consider,
and by the way, we haven't brought T-Gat yet, because T-Gat is on one side. T-Gat is not unbiased. He's very biased. I'm putting that out there from day one. So go ahead, Andre. You're a little more or less biased than T-Gat. He's on the.
For those of you who don't know, Andre, just to let you know, he has two sons that plays internationally for a country that he believes in this principle. They must be paid. Not because they want the money, but in principle.
In principle,
he believes that they should be compensated. And when they are not, he doesn't believe that they should go and play.
Because if you, I've lived
I just have to put that out there so you can.
No, I lived in America for a long time now, 3 decades, and I've never been involved in a situation where I worked and did not receive pay. Right? That's not an issue. You understand what I'm saying? And I think if we think back historically, what was the environment in when people worked and didn't get paid? But back to Cronky. So you agree that the person in charge would have a responsibility to create an environment that's conducive to the employees performing.
Yeah, but I think we're conflating two things. we're conflating the concept of getting paid with respect for
No.
authority.
I'm away from that. We're just talking about environment now. You work
Yes.
somewhere right now.
Yes.
Right. And if there's a challenge in your environment, you have a pathway for addressing that. There are protocols in place for addressing that.
Yes.
And if you address it, you're going to get a response, right? And you're going to get a solution, most likely. Whether you're in favor of it or not, you're going to get a solution.
Andre, I'm gonna tell you something, Andre.
Yes.
Andre, no. Let me tell you something.
Hold on.
You know what, Andre? I've been there. What I'm talking about is from personal experience, Andre. So this is not just hearsay or conceptual discussion. These are I've experienced in my life, going through my whole corporate life. I will talk about some of these things, but trust me, do not disrespect authority.
No, I agree.
Just remember that.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying, what I'm pointing out to you, because you have a pathway to get a remedy for the situation, right? You're least likely to put into a situation where your reaction going to be seen as disrespect.
Yeah.
Isn't that correct?
There is no position, Andre. There's limited and no circumstances where what transpired should have transpired, or if it did transpire, there's no repercussions. None.
And I'm not saying we discussing you going all the way to the end. I'm saying that
I agree with you. It's cause and effect, right? So you disrespect me as the supervisor, as the boss, I may respond, which then they're gonna have a negative outcome. Don't disagree with that. And sometimes it may be justified.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it may be justified, but the question is, how did I respond?
Right.
And if I feel I've been injured, how do I respond to that injury?
Right.
Because the extent of your response and the severity of response may conjure up the fact that you end up being, on a net basis, wrong versus the person you're having the disagreement with. So, but we should take a second there and pause and say, Mr. Tiga, how are you doing? We don't want you to just sit there and we just do all the talking. What's your perspective on this whole drama? We'll bring you in.
Oh my Lord, this drama is it's like they're bringing us back to the Stone Age. You understand? I think we should have moved on, and but it's like we're going right back to the Stone Age. I'm just so disappointed where we're at in terms of the football and everything. You understand? It's just so disappointed as a fan. You understand? And as a Jamaican, is just so disrespectful, just so distasteful. For instance, for the girl side of the football, we think progress would have made. You understand? Back-to-back World Cup round of 16. We're stepping up in places, and now it's like we're going right back where we're coming from. You understand? And that shouldn't have been. You understand? The JFF should have tried to deal with the situation much better, instead of power struggle. You know, I am the boss, and I what I say goes. You understand? I understand that they're the boss and what, but they should just try to look at it at a different angle. Look at it at all angles. Don't look at it. Yeah, I'm the boss and whatever goes, because with this happening, showing that you're the boss and you're flexing your muscle, you put back the football back to Stone Age. Now, you understand, the first game we play, we get 7 from Mexico. You understand? This not looking good. And then we don't know what's going to happen with the other games coming up. You understand? If these things don't resolve quickly, you understand, what are you going to do? There's no more women football again. You understand? So I think the situation should have dealt with much better. And with the two, what coming out from the both side is communication. Nobody's not talking to nobody. Nobody not talking to nobody. The girls say they try to reach out to JFF. JFF said they're trying to reach out to the boys, to the girls. And we don't know who is telling the lie. Who is that communicating? The girls that communicated, JFF not communicating, we don't know. But I'm saying the situation should have angled much, much better. I wish somebody else was in the room. You understand? A third person or a fourth person to deal with the situation.
So, there was a time growing up in the Caribbean, Cronky, when you would see when a kid or maybe an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever, 19-year-old, you would see they misbehave, and the parent instinct was to put them out the house. I don't know if you're familiar with that kind of behavior.
Yeah, when once you reach a certain age, they want to kick you out.
Yeah. I think if and we're talking leadership here, is it good leadership to knock the football back in the way in which we potentially could see it knocked back because we want to flex our muscle, basically? Or should as Tika is suggesting, as leaders, should we be looking to resolve the situation? What is the best thing for the football going forward? Now, you can get rid of the coach. And if you knew you were going to get rid
hold on, Andre. Just don't lose your thought. Cranky, I sent you somebody calling in constantly. Do you want me to take the call?
Yes, you can take the call.
Okay. All right. Just hold on, Andre.
Yeah.
Arden. Hello, caller. Hello. Arden, the girl, them champion down the way. Andre, continue. Let me see what I can connect.
So now you're trying to reach. So now the girls, because they're not taking calls.
Hello, Arden. I am hearing you. Cranky is the host. You want to? I am just the producer.
Yes.
I am the producer.
Okay, sir. Good evening to T-God, Andre, Cranky, Man. Evening.
Good evening, call it good evening, not evening. It's not evening, it's evening. Evening. I'm correct here.
Yeah, man. You can't be politically correct. Hear me, I say. Cranky seems to forget, like him not have a good memory. But me just want to remind him tonight. More remind him tonight, right?
Yes.
Listen to me, Cranky. You're talking about we must not. This is our bosses and stuff like that. We can't do certain things. I agree with you, But I want you to understand, Cranky. There was no football for ladies in Jamaica. No football program. The man them scratch it. And give up on it. You understand? Asidala Mali come and revive the girls program. You understand? So them man enough come a boss or something where them scratch. Where them scratch long time ago. You understand me? And it is so mere Tiga say it distasteful, bro. For I watch it from an angle. I know say them man are not really busy about girl football like money where I come in. You understand me? The man they give up on it. So why now you give up on something and you see something blossom now, so and I put on fruit, so you come for read. And that alone me see, and this me I say, a man them feel low. Them talk about the girls them know where they have come from. The girls them know what they have been through. You understand me? The JFF have a problem. They behaving like they're running a basic school, not even primary stage.
Same.
A man need to behave like and then to lie. A man might lie at this thing pan land. Every minute they come out with something else, and then they gonna hide and push up something. And you see, let me tell you something. You see, Mr. Speed is a two-faced person. You, Mr. Speed, is a two-faced person. And you are the man in charge, and you hire. And you see, let me tell you something, Cranky. Notice every time them man never have a coach in place when them a fire a coach. Them ever go to assistant coach and them play a game like wait and see if the coach can manage it. And when they come under pressure, at that time, then decide. You can't, Cranky, you can't sit on your pot, Cranky, and you have the food to put in the pot. You know, prepare the food for going in the pot. The water go boil out. And you have to add more water when you finally get the food. Them man have to do things upside down, bro. We tired of them man. Them man are sick. They are so sick, bro. They not have no. No football, me no know. You know
So
something, gentlemen.
Carla, don't leave, Carla, don't leave.
Arden, listen, you have to listen now because
So Arden, a couple of things, Arden. One is I don't disagree with you in terms of the root cause, because when you're trying to fix a problem, they try to fix the root cause of the problem. You can't just fix the symptom, right? So don't disagree with you in terms of what you're alluding to around the JFF and their neglect of women's football. And now the football is going well, they want to reap the benefits, right? We both agree with that. But one have to understand, it's no different from Jamaican politics, frankly, but the people who run the politics, and you have no option. You have to deal with them. Because as you know now, there's an election coming up, and all we have at our disposal in terms of people can be elected is the current president and his vice president. So you're stuck. So if you're a fan and you want to give up on the football, that's one thing. If you want to stay with the football, that's a different story. You have to deal with this administration. And you have to deal with the people who are in power. You got to figure out a way to work with them to achieve your goal as a fan, which is to see the best football out there. And as a player, to make sure you can play for your country, even given some of the limitations of the organization running the sport, because you don't have a choice. Does that make sense? Is he still there or he left?
I think his man got disconnected.
Oh, so he got disconnected too.
Yeah, so he got disconnected.
So I was talking to myself for a while. Unless he's listening.
Yes, you were. But Mr. Cranky, him surely have a point, so to speak, when it come on to the football, because it was dead and they forget it. There was not even a league playing in Jamaica. Everything was gone. Somebody revived it. But the JFF is still in charge. No matter if I sit out them or they bring it up back, whatever, they are the one in charge of it. You understand? But that's why I say they should have dealt to the situation much, much, much better. I can't say, oh, JFF will leave it. No, they're the one in charge. They're not to leave it. But I'm saying they should have dealt with the situation much better. I was reading the chat and people are saying that the Panam game and the goal. Yes, people, I know it's different. But the point I'm trying to make is that what domino effect it's going to happen when it come on to the girls' team. I know the girls' teams and the team that is playing the Panam game is different from the girls. I know that. People may know. You don't have to tell me. I know. But I'm just giving an example. What domino effect is going to be coming down the line. You understand? When we played the game, when we played this World Cup qualification between Guatemala and Panama, we're not feeding our best team, so to speak. That is not our best team.
Artigat, what I'll say is that because what we don't want to do, because both Cranky and Andrea think a very salient point, which is first we deal with the issue, because that is what I think Cranky wants to do. First, call out the issues and then look at the solutions. What Andre is saying is very important, because what he was saying is that if we create an environment of disrespect, then you're going to get disrespect. And not paying people forms part of that disrespect. I think what Cranky is saying, and I am saying, is that we agree that people are supposed to get paid. In the event that you don't get paid, you still have people superior to you. So you have to find a proper means, I think that's what Cranky is saying, of even addressing those matters without coming across as being disrespectful to the people who you intend to work with. It's okay if you decide that you're not going to work with them again, you know. But if you intend to work with them, if they should ever pay you, you have put yourself in a compromising position. And while you have just cause to be upset, you must also that they have no authority to execute consequences that you may not want. And I think that is what Cranky, I don't want to speak for Cranky, so I'm going to allow him, but I know he wanted to address Arden and then caller, there's a call on the line, so let's take the caller and then Cranky.
No, let me talk to A.M. Henry first. So A.M. Henry says there's nothing to reap from women's football when football costs more than they earn. A.M. Henry, what part of JFF do you work in? Because I've been actually following your tweets, you know, A.M. Henry. And there's a theme to them. There's a theme to your tweet. They're not objective, A.M. Henry.
It was the one that I was addressing to. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the one that I was addressing.
He's on the other side. He's like
He was the one I
you.
was
You on
saying.
one side, he's on the other side. Extreme. No
I think AM
middle.
Henry is a female though.
You think so? Well, she working at JFF. But keep going.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, you understand? I was
I'm an
addressing
agent
that
at the
person,
JFF and she work
and
for the
they're the
JFF.
one that,
Directly.
yeah,
I'm a
you
consultant.
understand?
Go ahead, Manningham.
All right, caller, you hearing us?
Yes, yes.
All right, just you know, what should we call you? Hub?
Double up.
Double. All right, double hub. All right. Cranky is the host and I'm the producer, so I'm going to take myself out the screen. So don't ask me the question. Ask Cranky.
He's getting the call and filter the call. Go ahead, caller.
No, asking a question. I'm just gonna make a couple statements, you know.
Okay.
Because you know, Cranky there was saying that said nobody rail or cheer for Goliath, right? And in this situation, the JFF is Goliath, right? And when you are Goliath, you can be right, you know, but you got to know how to address the situation, right? You cannot come across arrogant like Mr. Speed did on Friday. You know, because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it, you know? Because it should, there's a thing called soft landing, you know? Like, you can't just drop an aeroplane on the ground. You got to take it on gradually, you know? So the way he speak, right, the way he spoke Friday about, like, you know, we have a contract, and this contract say we can fly your economy. You know, it's like those things. You shouldn't you shouldn't talk to women like that. Even if that is the truth, you should say it in a nice way. You should say, you know, unfortunately, the best we can do for the ladies is offer them economy ticket, and it's up to our discretion to find them business or first class. You know, so the tone that he's setting and speaking from a man that you would have said is a leader, he can speak to people like that. But even when you're right, man, as I said, when you're Goliath, even when you're right, there's just a way how you speak to people. He's coming off like a dictator. And based on what I'm seeing, as far as the girl wanting a coach before, want to know the coach before they play, I don't agree with that. But when it comes on to the money part, I agree with them 110% because where was the money? All of a sudden they get it when they stand up for it. That means they could have gotten it before. And that's my take, you know.
So, caller, I do appreciate the call, caller, and it was a balanced perspective, which is I agree with you about the whole Goliath concept. I agree with you about how Speed came across, and Speed was very emotive when he was on coach's desk, and I was part of the whole equation asking questions of him. And also, I agree with you about the girls and how they have handled the situation in terms of trying to dictate. I'm going to use my own term and my own view, dictate who should be their coach, which is not okay. And by the way, guys, I keep telling you this. I've been on both sides of the equation. Where I've been a subordinate and not acting as I should with my boss, didn't have a good outcome. And I've been the boss where subordinate didn't act a certain way, they didn't like the outcome. That means we're working in different places now. There's some place and I'm where I am. Let's remember that. So I'm not talking just the top of my head. I've been on both sides of the equation because when you're younger, the Jamaican in you is very evident until you get your fingers burned. Then all of a sudden you realize, you know what, how I should operate. So you manage that because it's almost innate, and then it's get exacerbated by how you grew up. And you realize that you have to engage your boss a certain way.
Yeah.
And even though I think I was right, I keep saying this, being right doesn't make you effective. So with my boss, I thought I was right. I know I was right. And he just didn't get it. But I'm the one who got it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, or I made a decision that we couldn't coexist. But that's what happened. So this whole notion that you can disrespect our authority is not going to end in your favor if our authority is the one control the purse string and control the hiring and firing. It doesn't work that way.
I think.
All right, Dub Hub. You're correct. Yeah, man. Respect and thanks for the call. All right. Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
Good call, Dub Hub.
Yeah, man.
And I don't normally say good call for most people, but good call, Dub Hub. Good call.
But you see, AM Henry, listen, AM Henry is a female, and the truth is that she's on the side of Cranky most times, which is like undisciplined or indisciplined people. She has a problem with. In other words, this
that's fear.
Yeah. And the truth is, though, Andrew, we have, and like I'm saying, the girl must get their money. I also believe, like Cranky, that Mr. Speed was emotive. I think how we effective communication. Effective communication. And effective communication is not just speaking the truth. It is the way in which we speak the truth and the time that we speak the truth. I think the timing of some of these things are wrong. The way they are being said is also wrong. And the why, the motive behind it is wrong. However, we cannot continue to foster an environment of indiscipline and disrespect to persons who are in authority above us. We have to find means of communicating. In the same way, I'm going to say the JFF and the
Management, hold on a minute. Could I intervene?
Go ahead.
If done beholden call you tomorrow morning and said, management, yes, we need you to be our head coach. Okay?
Yes.
You become the head coach of done beholden in the next 24 hours. Who is responsible for creating the environment that's gonna dictate how the team behaves, both on and off the field, how they play and everything else? Who's responsible for that?
If I'm going to go in and coach a team, when I get there, to be my responsibility.
Right. Okay. So all I'm saying is the leaders in football, they have a responsibility to create the environment, right, that everybody else is going to feed off of.
And I agree, and I think
right.
I agree with that to
when
Andre.
we talk about respect and disrespect, and I'm big on that. I'm huge. Anybody who knows me gonna tell you. I think somebody put it to use somebody phrase the other day. I police those lines very hard. I don't disrespect people, so I don't expect to be disrespected. So I am with Cranky on that. I'm with you on that. But I think we have to also understand that football is the profession of these players. So you take a player like Bonnie Shaw, for example. She's playing at Manchester City. If you have ever been in that environment, right, we have nothing close to it in the Caribbean. She would know that as well. Okay, she would know that as well. But when she comes in, okay, and that's we're speaking about women football now at the moment. When she comes in, are we doing our best to provide an environment that can get her to perform in the way in which she performed when she at City? I listen to the fans talk about she hasn't scored any goals, she don't score goals, whatever the case may be. But is the environment the same? Is it conducive to her performing? Is it an environment that demotivates because they don't have this, they don't have that? Right? We had you and I did
Andre, we're conflating two things though.
Yeah.
We're talking about environment. Andre, there's the product on the field, and that City has better players around her, versus do you have equipment? Do you have the right trainers?
Right.
Are the field at the right standard? Right.
But when I speak about environment, I'm speaking about everything on and off the field. So I am sure she will not, let's just say she was the one that had the conversation. I am sure she will not behave. I hate to use her because I'm not accusing her of anything. I am sure somebody coming out of that environment would not behave that way in that environment because of just how the environment is set up. Things are done in a certain way. So we see managers all the time. They get frustrated, but they don't speak in the media because they understand what you are pointing out. But the environment also doesn't set them up. They just give Wayne Rooney a job recently, right? Wayne Rooney was at DC United with a 27% win percentage. They took away the job from a manager who had a 33% win percentage, I believe it was, and have the team in 6th place. It seems a real injustice, right? I think it's Birmingham. They took the job away from him and give it to Wayne Rooney. But at the end of the day, what did he do? Publicly, he had a statement that made sense, right? That wasn't confrontational, that was professional, because he wants to continue in the game. He wants to get a next job. You understand what I'm saying? And I think.
But Andre. So use an example. We're going down a little rabbit hole here. But let me pull you back, Andre. Think about this. Did the players at Birmingham, were they told who their coach was going to be? No. Were they told first that they're going to let this coach with a great winning percentage? Did they have the ability to say, you know what, you got to tell me who the coach is going to be, or I'm not going to play for you? Were they given that option, Andre?
I don't know the answer to that, right? I don't know the answer to that. But there are different type of
Hold
leaders.
on, Cranky.
Right?
Cranky, do you know the answer to that? Cranky, do you know the answer to that?
We can go by practice, though, that we know that don't normally happen.
Here's what answer that. Because as Andre said, their coach that they had was winning. Did better than the last coach. His percentage winning was the media, the fans all disagree with the determination of bringing Rooney in. There was wholesale noise about going into Birmingham by Rooney, give this poor percentage with DC, probably didn't have the resources there, and going to Birmingham, which had a winning percentage. They brought a coach in to rectify the program, change the program, which he did, and he got fired just like Lauren Donaldson did. So when Andre gave that example, I said, but I don't think they asked the players who you want to coach you. I don't think the players mandated tell him who to coach. And I'm sure most of those players would have said, this coach is doing well. And you want the coach to be there if you're a player because you know he's playing you. You have no idea what the new coach is going to do. If you're a starter, you want the coach to be there if he's playing you every week. But the new manager coming in may change the players. So this concept of players can determine who coaches them is nonsense. It's plain nonsense, seriously. But keep on going, Andre. Keep going down the rabbit hole, Andre. Keep going.
No, you have to understand that.
No, let me say this. I will add to this, right? I will add to this because let me just give my on this issue.
Stop produce now. No, stop produce, manager.
Mr. Host, can I say this?
Of course, the floor is here. The floor is here.
All right,
I need help because these two are the same. I know. You know that you play.
You need to invite A.M. Henry.
They are the same man.
A.M. Henry seemed to be on your side of the argument.
Yeah,
I will say
look
this.
like A.M. Henry know a lot.
All right, I will say this, right, Andre? A couple of things. When I went to school, all right, I said this even this morning. When I went to school, I didn't check the moral conduct of my teachers, their lifestyle. I didn't check that. I respected them because of their position. What we have to learn is that it is an office that people hold that we pay respect to because anyone could sit in that office. Respect and honor is not something we seek to get. It's something we give in spite of. So I respect my parents, not because they are perfect, but because they are my parents. So the point I'm trying to make is, I believe that the federation could be considered and should be considered very disrespectful in some of their approaches to the female. That's very important. I want to make that point.
To football on the whole, because the females have just started to get this experience, right? The Reggae Boys and most of the other teams in the region have been seeing some version of this for a very long time.
To football on the whole. So let's say that they have been right. However, not because a person is disrespectful means that I can't show them respect. That is the issue you and I are at odds with. You're saying that because they have created an environment of disrespect. Rightly so, you're right. Therefore, people should do nothing but disrespect them.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because they've created an environment of disrespect, they expose themselves to be disrespected. I'm not saying that
let me say this, Andre. Andre, let me say this.
I'm not saying that people should, but they expose themselves to
that. Here's why I disagree with Mannings, man. Because a person in a position, if you don't get around that person, you don't have to respect the person, you know. What you can't do is show disrespect. There's a difference. I don't have to respect the person in that position because respect is about adoration, right? Yeah. I don't have to respect you, but I can't show you disrespect. Nor can I disrespect you in a public environment. That's a whole different thing. I may not respect you at all. I think you're poor. I think your acumen is horrible. I don't think you're intelligent. I think your critical thinking is off. I don't have to respect you, but I cannot show you disrespect and/or disrespect you to others. That's what we're having here. So we don't disagree about the JFF and what they've done historically, but we are in today. We are at today. What happened in the past happened in the past. People don't understand roles and responsibility. They run the football in the country.
Right.
They're a FIFA representative. That is not going to change in the next 10, 15, 20 years, no matter what I want to say. Not
That is
changing. They have a lot. They're like the political parties in Jamaica. It's JLP and PNP. Some third party coming and realize, you know what? This is engraved. It's institutionalized. It's not changing. That's your choices. With the devil and his son, or the devil and his father is what you have, and his name changing. So get over it. Which one you want? The devil and his father, or the devil or the devil's father? You can take
So
one
what
of
you
them.
are arguing,
Yes.
right now is that the football, the administration of football will not improve.
Definitely will not improve. But no, I shouldn't say that. It may improve. It may improve if the people in those positions realize two things. One is I'm aware to understand my capabilities. I recognize where I need assistance. There are others in the external environment who have that capability I can leverage. Or fourth is that, you know what, FIFA realized that this is dysfunctional. They stop we find a way to stop the football and start over. Others who are competent get involved, and we re-engineer this entire thing and we transform the program.
But Cranky, you know what is interesting though? The letter, you know, I don't know, and this is why you see timelines are so important, because the letter from the girls, you know, did not bring up the money issue. So I'm wondering if the letter was. I'm confused.
It has money issue. No, it has money issue. It has money issue. It says they have been paid. It suggests they have been paid some monies. But they haven't paid all their monies.
Right.
Yeah, it does that.
But I think the bigger issue in the letter is the backroom, knowing about the backroom staff and the coach. Like a coach is not in place and the backroom staff and all of that. All right? Understood. No, question.
Hold on there, management.
I think you can read the letter.
I have the letter too.
Yeah.
But I'm still having a problem with the understanding of the letter. You understand? That is where I'm having a problem with the understanding of the letter. Because Kanki and I was in a long discussion. You understand? And the understanding of the letter, to me, maybe you can be the third person.
That's what I'm saying. There seem to be two different stuff, because there was one that came out earlier where Karen Madden on the Sport News took some information from a letter that had point to point thing. I think that letter came out first. So some of the money issues were made. Then the JFF started making statement, and then a second letter came.
Right. But with the second letter, I'm talking about the second. Frankie and I was discussing the second letter. With the second letter, my understanding is communication. The girls are talking about communication. They're not saying that they want to get in. They don't want to get involved with picking up the coach or whatever. They are saying that when they heard these things, it was through different media. Nobody have come to them and tell them, say, hey, guess what? We have a new backroom staff. It's like they hear it for the management show, for example. They hear it for the management show.
Yeah, but this is where now I am saying that. To me, like if somebody said to me, like that action, and that's why I think the girls are smart. I don't think the girls are saying we're not going to play because we don't know the backroom staff. I find that hard to believe.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
To me, there's a bigger issue at play. Like maybe Cranky as the host can tell me if he believes that.
No. The letter they're saying the accumulation of all these things that we brought in the letter draws us to this decision. So the part of the payment, the lack of communication, as it relates to coaches and equipment, that's all part of the whole litany of things which inform their decision about not playing, right? And I'll say this a couple of things. One is, and I have the letter right in front of me, by the way. I was trying to put it on the screen, but management, I'm challenged with working this program.
I can put it up. I'll put it up.
No, I have it.
Oh, all right. Go ahead, Frankie.
Every time they make reference to it, I just need to get clarity. You understand? Even the last part of one of the thing, they said the 3 days thing. We have gotten confirmation of our head coach 3 days prior to our report date through social media. Through social media, full stop. comma, despite our effort to have direct communication with the JFF. My understanding is this. Although I'm trying to get to you and say, who is the coach? You know, who is going to take us forward?
What is this?
sorry, Rocky. Sorry. Hey, Frankie, sorry. Rocky, no. Frankie, if you send me the dick thing, I make me get mixed up, you know. Oh, geez, give me a little bit of bad call. All right, hold on. Let me just get this. Sorry about that. Wrong thing.
Manager, want to tell us a little bit about that?
The right thing.
So they're saying that.
Management, I said the right thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was. Hold on. Let me
I'm
see.
understanding this. Although I'm trying to reach out to Manningsman, although I'm trying to reach out to Cranky. Hey, Cranky, Manningsman, what is happening? Do we have an head coach yet? You understand? Is everything okay? I'm just paraphrasing. Is everything okay with us going forward and getting the team ready for preparation to the World Cup? They are saying that they haven't heard nothing, but 3 days prior, before reporting, they are saying that they get somebody. You understand?
Tiga.
That's
In life, Tiga, in life, always listen to both sides, then make your own decision. So here's this. The two sides don't really engage because they don't get along. There's no respect on both sides. Secondly, if you hear what Speed said, and even what Chung said in other mediums, which is they've been trying to engage with the girls who don't want to engage with them. They supposedly set up a meeting with them, nobody turned up. All right. So if both sides are not talking, I view it to be. Go ahead.
Let me play the devil's advocate here. You understand? Yeah. They had privilege to this letter before us. All right. When they received this letter, we didn't have knowledge of it. They could have read this letter, then come to the media and tell the media, said, we are trying to reach out to them and we're not hearing anything because we didn't have privilege to this. They could have taken out words out of this letter, come to the media and say, we were trying to do this first because we didn't have privilege to this letter.
But Tiga, but Tiga, if they're being professional, they would not play this out in a public forum. That's what people don't realize. If they're professional as an organization, they should not be in a public forum throwing words back and forth about who didn't do what. They should be making efforts to engage the girls. I'm not sure if they did, but that's what they should be doing. So I would be very disappointed if they come to a public forum, go to the media, go to the radio station, television, saying what the girls haven't done or what the girls have done. I wouldn't have done that. I would have exhausted all opportunities to engage the girls first. So I wouldn't put this letter out there. I'll be trying to reach them and say, let's try to work through this. So I don't know what their rationale for not doing this, as you mentioned, but I wouldn't have taken that approach because it's counterproductive at the end of the day. All they're going to do is stir up more grievances, and we've seen how those work out, right? And this whole concept of, I think someone was asking the question of you, Andre, whether or not if you were Donaldson and Bonnie Shaw was disrespectful to you, would you have played her in the World Cup? No. I think Ten Hag and Sancho answer some of those questions, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one. There's no
right?
reason for disrespect. But again, as the head coach, I would make it least likely that a player would disrespect me. It's all about how you deal with players, the expectations that you set, the communication. In any environment, if you're the leader, you have to behave in a way so that people could follow. And I think it's that simple. And when that doesn't happen, right, people must have a pathway to address anything that is wrong or they don't agree with. I think that's important. And how many times do we hear that people are trying to get in touch with people in various federations and there's no response?
Let's go to the letter. Let's go. Sorry, Andrew.
Let me say this before you go on. Since I've been doing this, I've tried to, because of the 2026 World Cup, I've tried to get the GenSec from the TTFA to come on and talk about the plans for the 2026 World Cup, and he's not done it. Right? Maybe he thinks he has no responsibility to the public, as far as the game is concerned, to talk about what are the plans for the 2026 World Cup. I think it's an easy discussion, right? It's a very easy discussion to have, and he has not responded to that. So I think in the region, there seemed to be a sentiment that we don't have to answer. We answer who and when we want to.
Yeah, I think the view is that, and you heard Speedy say a number of times. Speed is running that JFF like it's his company. He said they are quasi what? They're not a public organization. Either they are private or quasi public organizations. So therefore, they have no obligations to anyone basically from what he's inferring in his comments. So they're not like an elected body in terms of the public domain. They're elected by a very small contingent of people, which has been expanded to go from about 2. I'm going to say 2 in my own terms, because it's not that many. We probably know about 50. And even that 50, it's skewed in their favor. And also the persons who are going to be selected for election or who are up for running for the positions are the same people in different shirts or different pants, frankly. So we just go through the letter and let's decipher the letter. And what do you want to read it? I'll read it. I'll read it.
Go ahead, Frankie.
It is with great disappointment we share that the 2023 World Cup roster will not be participating in the upcoming October international window for the first ever Women's World Cup qualifiers. So they start out with a conclusion, right? Which is interesting. They didn't build their case for start with a conclusion. One way to write. While this has been one of the hardest documents we have had to make, a hardest decision, sorry. It's hard to read this thing. I'm trying to expand it. Give me 1 second, people. Try to expand it to read it.
Oh, you're reading it from here?
Yes.
You should read it.
Yes,
you should read it from your.
Because I want to look in the camera.
Oh.
I want to read it. I want to be like a real newscaster.
Oh, all right. Let me see if I can expand it for you.
Hold on your head, man. Hold on your head and read it, Frankie.
I can read it. Let me keep again. While this has been one of the hardest decisions we have had to make, we feel it is necessary to take such a drastic stance to put an end to the constant mistreatment we receive from the Jamaica Football Federation. As always, it's an honor and a privilege to represent Jamaica. It is our job to perform to the best of our ability and to put all of our efforts into representing our country, making our fans, loved ones at home, and diaspora proud. Due to the current circumstances, the this missing a comma, by the way, Jamaica Football Federation has put us in. We would not be able to do our job.
You have a little cataract in you, you know. You have a little tinge of cataract in you.
For our job. They got to pause. Okay. We have received information about our coaching staff, medical staff, and equipment staff in an untimely manner and through unprofessional communication. Highlight that, by the way. We have gotten confirmation of our head coach 3 days prior to our report date through social media, despite our efforts to have direct communication with the JFF. Highlight that also, because that conflicts with what Speed is saying. We have yet to receive full and correct payments for historical performances at the World Cup and the numerous outstanding bonuses for qualifying in the summer of 2022. Now, they've said full and correct payments, meaning they have gotten paid, but not what they deem to be the total amount or accurate amount. We have dealt with this lack of communication, poor organization, poor management, and delayed payments from the JFF time and time again. For these reasons, we take our stance in solidarity with hope to end this cycle of mistreatment. With love, your Reggae Girls. So, clear, no ambiguity in terms of their perspective, what they view to be, why they're taking the stance they're taking, and why they believe it's impossible for them to come into this window, given what has transpired. So if one was to take this as it is, if you listen to the JFF side, actually, they have excuses for every single item that's here. Not every single item, but for a number of things that are here. Let's talk with the main contentious issue around money, right? Which one is the main issue, which is, when Speed came on and said they pay the girls, and Oral Tracy challenged him about that, And this was what, a couple of days ago. He said they got paid yesterday, which is very convenient, by the way. So the first question you ask yourself is, when did you get the money from FIFA?
Right.
And why did you just get paid when you probably should have? When if you got the money a while ago, and he didn't mention when they got the money, because I guess
Right.
there's probably a good timeline between receipt of the money from FIFA and the actual payment. He then said it was delayed by the fact that they had someone who was a 24th person on the team who went to all the different activities, who went to some place in Europe they went to, who went to maybe Holland it was, who went to maybe Australia, but they want to figure out if they could compensate her in some way, shape, or form, given that she was involved in all that transpired. And they were trying to work that out, but it got to the point where the girl just wanted their money. So he didn't say whether she got anything, but they paid the girls. He said the calculation the girls made were incorrect. So when the girls are saying here that they would pay the correct amount, he believed they miscalculated what the number should be. I think he also indicated that there's some future payments coming, but they have to receive payment from FIFA to make those payments. That's what he sort of inferred. Don't know if those are facts or not. The girls are saying it's a much wider issue, which is it's not just this World Cup. It's not for just this payment and their bonuses. The other payments they haven't received. I assume that in other windows that they have participated, they haven't gotten paid their monies, some of those windows. Which is the same thing the boys have complained about, the reggae boys have complained about. So this is not unique. This happens all the time with the JFF, where they don't necessarily pay the players on time when they should pay them, right? They also mentioned here about the communication and lack of communication. They only got 3 days about the coach and equipment and things of that nature. Now, if you were to go through all of this, you would say, yes, the JFF is negligent in their payment. Yes, we know the history of what they call about the JFF and not valuing women's football and not supporting women's football. But we are here today where we are. You got to sometimes figure out how to get over your past and move forward. So the main contention to me now, as you think about all of this, is one is they haven't got their full payment. Two is, which they have mentioned in this letter, but it's hidden in the background, it's elephant in the room, their preferred coach got fired, which comes out in the fact that they think their work should have been told who the coach was, and that communication was made to them. And the main contentious issue they seem to indicate here is a lack of communication between them and the organization. But if you listen to Speed and others, they're saying the girls are the ones who don't want to communicate. So somebody in that mix is not telling the truth, frankly. Let me rephrase that. It's being economical with the truth, because people don't like to say people are lying. It's economical with the truth. We're not telling the full picture, right? They're saying communication is not being there. JFF is saying they don't want to communicate with us. JFF said we set up a meeting and they didn't attend the meeting. Now, when that meeting was set up, what was the timing of that? Is it within that 3-day window? We don't know. But there's obviously contention here between both parties. And the question we should ask ourselves is, how do we resolve this? Because the girls are saying, we can't come to this window. What does that mean going forward? Does it mean if you don't get the rest of your money, you're not coming ever again until you get your money? Does it mean if you get your money, you're going to come subsequently? If you get all your back payments, you're going to come subsequently? Does it mean that you have to be told who the coach is and you have to agree who the coach is? And you have to figure out what decision being made and you're giving that input in those decisions?
But
what
Frankie,
are the things here? Go ahead.
Frankie, they state because of this letter, the JFF have state their punishment that the girls were suspended from this card. The Panam
So Tiga,
Yeah.
if I tell you I'm leaving your company and you say, you know what, you're fired, does that make any sense?
No, well, remember, this is not leaving. They said they are suspended for this window. The same
No, but Tiga, I told you I'm not coming. So what does suspension means?
No, yeah, when they're going to, when the issue, they said when the, Cranky, you're comparing apple with orange right now. You're telling them they didn't fire them.
Yeah,
They suspend them.
Tiga, why you love to talk about apples and oranges?
I need to want confusing them.
Cranky, they put them on, meaning that these players won't be called for these 2 upcoming games.
All right, hold on, Cranky. Before this letter was released, right? This is
Yeah.
7:50. That's what I'm saying, that there is some very. I need to get some timestamp. This is 7:50, right? Hold on, Tiga. This is from
Yeah.
Karen Madden, because this is the 19th, the 23rd of the 19th. The 19th was Friday, right? The 20th, the 19th was Thursday, right? Thursday. Friday was the 19th, Saturday the 21st. So this is before this initial letter. Karen
Okay.
Madden tweeted at 7:50 p.m. and and here's what he says. Several members of World Cup squad have indicated they are unavailable for Panama and Guatemala games. In a letter to the JFF, the players cited outstanding fees and coaching uncertainty
Yeah.
as their reasons. JFF says it will release a squad soon.
Right.
Full story,
Mhm.
it says in TVJ Sport later. So
Right.
now it was after this that Speed and Chung came out. So I am
Right.
suggesting that between this tweet and Speed and Chung speaking, this letter was done.
But management.
That because the original
Management.
tweet was talking about not getting paid. So between Thursday and Friday, the monies were paid up. Follow me now, Tiga. So what I am saying is at that point, what then was a major issue? And if the major issue were a matter of, listen, they are disrespecting us, that I would certainly agree with. Because up to this point, based on the timeline, based on what Chung and Speed has said, based on now this letter, the girls would have gotten some money. Right, Cranky? Isn't that what you see? Like they have
No,
gotten...
so here's what I see, management.
Oh.
The JFF knew this was coming because they got that squad in place, and they said they had help from overseas. It didn't take 2 days to get the squad in place. So between their communication and lack thereof, they realized the girls are going to boycott the games, and they would have make contingency plan. And Speed sort of alluded to that. They make a contingency plan. When you're going back and forth, you realize, you know what? Worst case scenario, let's get these people in place just in case this materializes in a negative manner. And that's what transpired. So they wouldn't be able to call these girls into the team, book their airfare, get everything in, unless they had some warning that this was going to occur. The letter was just a culmination of this and substantiated it. But as management is alluding to, it was being communicated in certain forums that this was going to transpire.
Yeah. Jason Guna says it's not a boycott.
Could I say this, management?
What is it?
You have to be.
It's a girl cut.
Be careful. Be careful you don't get into trouble, management. Be careful you don't get into trouble.
It's not me. It's Jason Guna just said it. It's not me. He said it's a girl cut.
Let me say this. I think we have to be careful about, we talk about respect and how we characterize some of this. Malcolm X once said that if you have a condition that have the potential to explode, and there's an explosion, and you clean up after the explosion and leave the condition, all you're going to have is another explosion. And that's what we've been experiencing in the region from year to year in terms of the experience of footballers, right? There's always an issue. If we don't fix the situation, then there always going to be this type of thing taking place where players are boycotting because they didn't get paid and whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, my understanding that the right to work, the freedom of opinion and expression, the right to education, right? All of that is part of human rights. Okay? And if the right to work is part of human rights, then we'd agree that to get paid for your work should be the natural consequence. Okay? All of the MAs all around the world, they're representative of FIFA, right? They're representative of FIFA. And what is FIFA mission? FIFA mission is to oversee and communicate quantified facts about FIFA in order to influence and increase transparency and accountability, okay, to reduce opportunities for corruption, to ensure that human rights are respected. At the end of the day, and the federations are representative of FIFA. At the end of the day, I think we need to be working to change the condition. We need leadership. We need leadership that would lead because they want the best for our young people in the region. At the end of the day, I think that's what it's about. If management is in charge of the federation, if he's in charge of the MA, and the people that comes under his the young people that he's responsible for, if he wants for them in the same way as though he wants for his 2 children or for his 3 children or 4 children, then I think he would lead in a different type of way. But if he wants the best for his kids and feel that he can supply, he can give less than the best, significantly less for other people's children, I think we're going to always have a problem. And I think at the end of the day, the behavior does not represent what FIFA mission is. It just doesn't.
So here's what's interesting. I'd be curious if the girls got all their money, would they still come? That's a very curious one. I would bet some stuff still wouldn't come. But here's another thing too. The girls played in all these windows and didn't get paid or didn't get their full money. And they came to all the windows. They got payments. Some of their payments, I'm not sure how material is different from what they're supposed to get paid since the World Cup, right? So they're saying, they didn't say it was just a money issue. They were saying it's all these reasons. We don't know which one have more importance, which ones are priorities versus others. But it's all these reasons as to why we can't partake in this window. And we want the mistreatment, disrespect going forward to change. And we use that word mistreatment and disrespect. Is it just a monetary matter? Or what are the other things of mistreatment, disrespect that you're alluding to versus the monies? Management, you're muted.
You're muted, man.
I'm
It's
agreeing.
maybe a good thing. It may be a good thing, but we still want to hear you. Maybe a good thing.
I am agreeing with Cranky because I am saying, and I don't want people to get me wrong. Again, let me state it clearly. People supposed to get their pay, Andre. And when you don't do that, you create these problems. We agree on that. All right? The girls cannot be blamed for not being paid. You can't blame them for not being paid. They are supposed to be paid. And the federation must be held accountable for not doing that and creating this kind of an environment. Cranky raises a very important point. And that is what I'm saying. A lot of this is about timing. You can do the right thing at the wrong time and still get things messed up. So, more important were the games against Canada. At that point, they had not received the monies, though the monies, according to them, was with the JFF. Why not take the action then? And I think the fact that you wait until this window, it comes across like somehow it is connected to the coach and other things. It may not be. And even if it is, it doesn't negate the fact that they are supposed to be paid. I am thinking a bigger stance would have been, these 2 games against Canada for the Olympics, we are not going to play them.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We are not going to play these 2 games. No, when you wait until a decision was made after that concerning Lauren, and then we see this, to some people, it comes across as it is beyond the issues. However, again, let not this be because I don't want people to walk away from here and believe that I am saying that it is the girls who are wrong and not the federation. Everything lies with leadership. And so the first thing is that the leadership of the football has messed up this big time and has created a lot of this for this to be happening. All right? That's number one. What we can assess now is this. Okay, could the girls have taken action that doesn't jeopardize the football, keep them in a good light, given how untenable the relationship has become, given the fact that the public predominantly are on their side, given the fact that the federation is not trusted by so many, I believe, any action the girls took, they would have been supported. Even if they said that, listen, we are coming to play the game, but we are going to come out and speak on TV about this. Like, all of those things, I think would have still had strong effect. That's all I'm saying. Could the approach have been different? Where the football doesn't suffer, but the outcome is achieved, and they are kept in a positive light.
The problem I see with the argument that you're making, the first part of it, you're clear about that, right? You're clear about that. But you seem to be still putting the responsibility on them to protect the football. Now, when you play football, that's your profession, like any other profession. Cronky's an accountant. That's his profession, right, Cronky? You get paid to do that. That's how you make your living. Footballers get paid to play football. And the protection of the football, the integrity of the game, it's not the player's responsibility to protect it. I think it's up to the leaders to do the things that it's going to be motivating and encouraging for the players to come in and represent the country. The player said in the letter that they understand it's a privilege. It's a privilege to play for a national team.
All right, hold on, Cranky. T-God said that the people not seeing his face, so I'm going to chip out so he can come up higher on the screen.
It's not you, It's not.
So
it's either you move there. Yeah, it's either you move, right? Either you move the letter or you take off the comment.
Oh, I think it's the writing. It's the writing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either you take off the comment or the thing.
Continue, Andre.
Yeah, I don't think it's the player's responsibility to protect the integrity of the game in the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that's the responsibility of the leadership. So in the first half, you're given responsibility where it should be, but then you're still holding them responsible for taking a stance that they probably should have taken a long time ago. Because here why? Here the alternative. The alternative is what happened in Trinidad and Tobago, right? The players take the federation to court, right? FIFA in the end brings in a normalization committee.
Is that a bad outcome? That's not a bad outcome.
Well, I don't know. We have to be capable of governing ourselves and running our football. We shouldn't have someone from the outside coming to do what we should be capable of doing.
These commenters are cruel,
I'm just putting up some comment.
Man chose that one. I'm glad the comment wasn't over my picture. I'm glad the comment wasn't over my picture. But you're half right, Andre. It takes both parties. It takes both parties are responsible because the JFF can't force the product on the field. The JFF will control the product. In this case, it's even worse. They have no control over this product. The product control themselves. So they could want to protect the football all they want, but the product say we're not coming. You can't do anything about it.
Well, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. It shouldn't. Look, accountability, transparency, about those two things, they're important. And it sounds like that didn't happen here.
LB, the inmates did give part to run the asylum. The owners decided to pull it back. They decided, you know what? You're not going to run in the asylum. We decided to take back the asylum.
Up, boss.
But Andre.
Go ahead, Andre. Sorry, Andre. Go ahead.
Sorry. Cranky saying it because part of it, JFF challenges an opportunity. Is there an opportunity in any of this for anything to get better. Like the truth is.
So let's go to challenges. Let's go to challenges.
Yeah.
The challenges are the JFF is a dysfunctional organization. That's hard to fix. So here's some of the challenges. The JFF don't operate as they should, and it's like you're driving a car and you're causing accidents behind you 24/7, and you get to the end of your journey, you think you did a great job, but everybody's dying behind you. That's what JFF. They think they're doing a good job, and things are crashing all around them, and they're not aware enough to recognize it. So they're dysfunctional. That's one. And the only reason why they may do well is because the things that are working around them, so whether it's people they bring in like a Manning's man or Simon or the players, help the ship to be on the right road, but it's not the JFF. Now, some people say you're beating the JFF too much. They do certain good things, but everything that they do is good. It's so worsened by the bad things they do or don't do, or things that they don't do, that it overshadows any good things that they do. That's the problem. And you see it was first with the men's football, and if you hear the communication they had with Lowe and them way back when they didn't go to Austria, it was very unprofessional for leaders to engage that way. It was awful, actually. And they were taped.
Cranky,
Yes.
even the Suriname one was bad. The fact that players would get to a place, like Andre said, the environment is so toxic that they would even record.
Well, here's the difference, though. The men's team boycotted a friendly. That's a big difference. The men's team boycott doesn't affect the official football program, and doesn't have the implications that it's going to have not going to the Gold Cup. The men's team boycott a friendly. It was only a monetary situation, and the JFL had replacement players, but it didn't really matter, only from a monetary situation standpoint. This is totally different, right? This is totally different, and this has larger implications than just for one or two windows. It has a lot more long-term implications, and that's why it's difficult and challenging.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It doesn't mean we don't empathize and sympathize with the ladies or the girls about their circumstance situation, because we know how the JFF is. We know that they're a dysfunctional organization. Let me say, they're dysfunctional. No matter who they bring in, excluding two people, as a political term.
Thank you. I appreciate that, you know.
and maybe the coach, the new coach and his staff, they're still dysfunctional, right? No matter who they bring in is a challenge, because
Cranky,
you have to work within the environment that they operate. Yeah.
Cranky, the thing the JFF is doing is that we don't want to build, we want to replace. So if we can replace certain people, then we can move forward. This is the JFF thinking. If we can replace, then we can move forward. You understand? We're not going to fix anything. We just replace. We see
you're talking like players. Like if you can
players. You understand? Let's not try to fix it, or let's see what we just replace them. We see they tried with the men team. Now we see they're trying it with the women's team. You understand? And
no. Be fair, Tiga. They have no choice but to get replacement players. They have no choice.
Let me make a point here about leadership. And I'm not saying whether it was right or wrong, but I'm sure you guys are familiar. We saw a situation recently with US soccer and a player and a family, right? It involved the head coach at the last World Cup, right? You guys familiar with that situation?
Yes.
Right. Certain acquisitions were made. The US soccer did not renew the contract at the time. They started an investigation. Okay. They were transparent as far as I'm concerned. They said what they were going to do. They started an investigation. They put the results of the investigation out. Some people say it was self-serving, whatever. That's not what I'm trying to judge. What I'm pointing out is there was a process, and now the coach is back in the job. Okay. A lot of times we don't see that in the region. We don't see a process happening that we have a problem, something comes up, and the leaders are transparent and say, okay, this happened, this is what we're going to do. Like, for example, recently there was a interview done by Kevin Molyneux. We interviewed him here on this channel, Man, and he did an interview and he said some things that about the head coach in Trinidad and dealing with the federation and whatnot. It was a lot of people disagreed with it. Some people supported it, but there was not I didn't see where the federation says, okay, he even talked about going back from the Gold Cup and have to get mental therapy. His team have to send him to mental therapy. I didn't hear any of the leadership saying, okay, Kevin put this out. We don't know what is true. We're going to commence an investigation. We have checked on Kevin to make sure he's all right. You don't see that type of leadership. Everybody just went quiet. Everybody just went quiet. So there's no communication, and it's almost like his years of service to the country goes down the drain because you only hear from those who have a problem with what he said, right? What caused that? What caused that, in his opinion, was his experience at the Gold Cup. That's what he was sharing with people, right? So when you compare the two situations, I think we are capable of doing better than that. When you compare how the U.S. Federation dealt with their situation, I think whether people agree or disagree, there was a process that took place that resulted in the coach being back in the job, being rehired to do the job. The player is back in the team, right? The family was, I think by most account, was disrespectful. They did something that most people would disagree was wrong. But they dealt with it. They dealt with it. They dealt with it as a family. They dealt with it as a country, as a team, whatever the case may be. We make everybody an enemy in the region. If you say something about the MA that they don't like, you become an enemy. And that's why you are suggesting very early in the show that management is not going to participate, right? Because he can't have an opinion. He can't really have an opinion on that is contradictory, that makes anybody uncomfortable, right? If he does and anybody becomes uncomfortable, then that could be a problem. He would no longer be able to serve his country, which is what he's doing right now, right? And as he
But Andre, I think when we compare some of these situations, we have to think about who sits in what seat. And here's what people don't realize: the people who are running the JFF don't lack awareness, lack the ability
they
to
don't
realize.
They don't.
They lack the ability. They lack the ability. They're egotistical. Some of them are egotistical, and their egos are so big they can't see the forest from the trees. They lack critical thinking. They lack humility. They lack the ability to compromise. So if you lack some of those fundamentals of being a leader or being able to manage, it's going to manifest itself in what you're seeing today. And they also lack, this is going to sound really bad me saying this, and some elitists, they lack certain acumen. I've seen them engage. I've heard them engage.
Yeah, you know what I
realize?
realize?
It's a fact. And here's what happened. One second, man. And here's what happened. When you don't have those skill sets, you will never be able to get to a good place and run an organization seamlessly. It will never happen. Go ahead, management.
Yeah, and I know that in universities, right, most first-year students do at least a semester of psychology, basically learning to understand human behavior and stuff. And I think when you're able to do that, it helps with situations like these. And if I were to look at challenges and opportunities, I don't think there is, and this is where now I'm on the side of the girls. Do they have a clear pathway for mitigation and conflict resolution as part of the handbook or systems of operation of the Jamaica Football Federation? In other words, if a player is aggrieved, what is the process to protect him from himself while allowing him the latitude to express what he's going through, and where necessary, get redress without being vindicated?
Yes.
And I think that is what is lacking, and the JFF needs to look at creating, with all the conflicts and issues that I've heard in football from I was a child to this point. I think it is full time now that there is a board, a group that is established to deal with player welfare and issues.
throughout the region, not just at the JFF, throughout the region.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it goes back, but guys, it goes back to what the comment I just made, which is about acumen doesn't necessarily mean intellect, guys. When you think about it this way, it means, do I have the awareness to understand? Is it that it's so ingrained in me how I operate, and I'm such an elitist, and my ego is so big, I can't see anything else. That means I become dictatorial. That means my way or the highway, and you're subordinate. We won't even have a conversation. We won't be able to engage because you're disrupting. You're not aligning with how we operate. And it's if you talk to some ex-players, that's how it used to be with the previous administration. Not the previous administration, but who's headed. It was even 10 times worse than this. 10 times
that's what I'm
worse.
saying.
It's actually gotten better. And this is still bad.
If I go to players in the 80s, it is worse.
It's worse, much worse.
They have no record of all the monies that they are owed. So they will never get it for all the games that they played. They weren't
Monies, how they engage. There are so many different things. It's 10 times worse, but it's still bad. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that one of the things that must happen from this, and this is where I want the girls to take their engagement, because here's it. After this letter now, I would love for them, because so many of them have been in colleges, to create that as a proposal. We want an established pathway for us to ventilate our issues before it goes to the media. In other words, my first option for redress should not be the media. But if I don't have an avenue, I have to go to the media, because I believe this is the only way that I'm going to be heard.
So I feel like we have made progress tonight. So to hear management now repeat that we have made progress, Cranky. Cranky, you agree with that, right?
No. No, you can't go to the media.
No, not go to the media, but having a pathway to.
Yes, no, I don't. Arbiter, mediator, I all agree with that, right? You can't resolve the situation. I think Speed said they have something. I thought Speed said they have something contractually, actually. I'm almost sure he said that.
Well, I was just going to say that.
What they have in the contract is that the contract is like a mini non-disclosure agreement, which is not giving me an avenue to.
No, I thought it was twofold, management. They have you can't go to the media or go to the general public. And second, I thought he said when they have disputes, they have some kind of a mediator or something, especially around money, because there's always a money dispute. I thought he said they had a mediator. I may be wrong, but I thought he said that actually. They have some kind of mediator.
But just think about this. You're playing for your country, and you have to sign a non-disclosure about not going to the media. It's in professional sport, it's a given that people don't run to the media with every little thing. What happens at a football club, people don't just go and put it in the public space like that, right? There are some things that stay right where they are, unless it becomes a situation that is untenable and people are being, the treatment as such is so poor. I don't know why players have to be asked to sign an NDA.
NDAs are standard in corporate environment, you know that.
But
you'd be shocked. I have signed multiple NDAs. You sometimes have to sign NDAs.
I think
you don't get the money, or you don't get what's coming to you.
Different environments here.
Yeah, but you're almost like you're an employee, right? It's almost like an employee-employer situation, right? You want to make sure certain things stays confidential.
And employees get paid on time.
Yeah, but no, the girls that they got paid just get paid all their money.
Employees get paid on time. It's all part of it. I just cannot subscribe to a situation. Look, Unky, I'm responsible for a few coaches for the past 11 years, and I will never I will go without first if there's shortage of resources before they go without. I'll take care of them first.
Yeah, but Andre, we're talking about football administrators who believe they're not the primary source of income for the players, and who frankly sometimes are callous and don't care, right? So when you have those situations, it becomes difficult. If you're right, they should make sure the players get paid. But as you know, sometimes that's not their primary concern. And sometimes they have obligations which conflict, which means somebody has to get paid, they only have so much resources to expend. And so I'm not paying the person, I'm not paying the organization or the person who is, from a prioritization standpoint, is of lesser or least priority.
So and you see what happens when you don't,
or the least repercussions, because there's repercussions, but the least repercussions.
when you don't pay people, the internet goes in and out. They have
So is it that he paid and he didn't pay all of it?
Well,
so
he didn't pay it. Sorry, man, it's the third time.
Maybe I'm dealing with a corrupt
you
organization.
have some cataract in you, know. You have some cataract in you. You have some cataract in you, Andre. You have some cataract in you. No, look. We're talking about solutions. We're going to talk about solutions, right? Which is, to me, the two parties have to get together and work out protocol. How are they going to operate? What's the operating norm for them? Because right now, it doesn't work. It's toxic. And the question is, are they adults? Do we have adults on both sides who realize that in this situation, in negotiation, you have to get to a win-win situation. You both can have your total weight. It can't be all about you on either side. You have to compromise. So how do you work through your difficulties, your challenges, and your history, which is part of this whole toxicity, and get to a good place? How do you do that? They have to work through that. Because no one is winning. The fans are not winning. The girls are not winning because they lose a platform and they like playing for their country and they like the notoriety that comes with it and also the opportunities that come with it. The JFF is losing money. They may not be able to participate in the Gold Cup if we get knocked out. And frankly, the fans are losing, supporting a team which just came off a World Cup where everybody was on a high, and now we've gone to being at the lowest. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So this is why, like what A.M. Henry is saying, I think in this case, maybe we need to look for an external arbitration board. Maybe where, like I said, a player representative and a player or the players aggrieved can come and sit at the table with a representative, maybe the attorney that represents the JFF, the attorney that represents the players, and just some independent parties, maybe a couple of people from the diaspora. Because, and this becomes a pathway, and every player knows, the male and female knows, a parent knows. So like even the incident with Sule Havana Salah mother, that could have been dealt with there. And if you don't get redress, then the media, the public space. But I think part of the opportunity is like we're all saying, but create these opportunities, create a space where this can happen. The question is, do the people who sit in this position have the requisite skill set and people personality to allow for this? Will the egos decrease so common sense can prevail? Right? And that is where the issue is right now. Who is going to give? Because for us to move forward, there has to be compromise on both sides.
So
Amen. You said wait. This is an interesting comment here, actually. I don't know what divorce means though. What does divorce mean? Because the JFF is not going anywhere anymore. The only replaceable parts are the players. The JFF is not going anywhere. So the only replaceable parts are the players. We have to be clear on that. Even if you replace the president, some of the same people are going to be in the administration, the new administration. And then this vice president and management, before we finish the show, we got to talk about that a little bit, who's been in the role for 37 years of being part of the JFF. And I'm going to digress here. I'm going to be like Cataract. I'm going to digress. I cannot explain to me one thing he has done as a member for 37 years that can be distinguished and exemplary and something we can all applaud him for. In terms of his qualification, I asked the question last night. He talking about we and us. It's not an I thing because there's nothing that I have done. I haven't done anything that I can point to in terms of accomplishment that suggests I'm qualified for the job. So we're going to take out who has been in there for years and we have concerns with, and put somebody else in, even though he surround himself with people who have failed in other disciplines, frankly, to be part of his organization to help him run this administration. That's what I'm saying. We're stuck. It's the JFP and the PNP again.
Before you get to that though, Cranky, Andre, Trinidad has a normalization committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have they made a difference there to the football? Has football gotten better? Has the administration, because people are saying that we need a normalization committee, right, in Jamaica, and that will change. Do you believe a normalization committee would hinder our progress or just, accelerate our progress?
What is a normalization committee? What is a normalization committee?
Well, I would have to ask, because a lot of the people are asking for normalization committee, and I don't think they know what it is really. They don't understand that it is the same people who are administrating are going to be there. They think like it's a new set of people.
It's the same. It's the same people.
So I don't think they understand normalization committee with people oversight.
Appoint somebody. Somebody's going to be appointed. That's probably going to be recommended by somebody who's on the ground. They may or may not know about football, and they'll be working for FIFA at that point running the football. When you ask, has the football improved? I think the best way to be objective about it is look at the results, right? You're talking about the football. So if we look at the youth level, this year alone, we've been in 4 tournaments. I think it was under 15. Okay, we didn't get out of the group. The under 17, we came out of the group as the 3rd place team with 1 point. That's on the men's side. The under 20, we didn't qualify for the World Cup, and as a result, you didn't qualify for the Olympics. On the women's side, the senior team just lost to Mexico 6-0, 6 goals in the first half. There was an under 15 tournament, I think, in Dominican Republic. Didn't get out of the group in that. So has the football improved? And as far as the senior team is concerned, didn't get out of the Gold Cup, the group in the Gold Cup. I know people saw the last 3 wins and qualifying for the quarterfinal. That is good. You can't. But is it sustainable? Is the question. Is it the team now has to play America? We were beaten 6-0 against America in the Gold Cup in the group stages, and as far as some people is concerned, that was America's C team, as they put it, right? This time around, it's going to be the Pulisics, the top players, players who are playing in clubs all around the world, in Germany and different places. So has the football improved? We haven't seen a plan for the 2026 World Cup. I don't know if it's even on anybody's mind.
Are the players being paid?
As far as I know, the answer to that is no. As far as I know.
It's a
but you should know. Wait, you should know.
Well, in my case, no, they haven't been paid. No.
Because you haven't made any of the money.
The reason why I said it that way is that a couple days ago, I'm hearing that some of the local players been paid. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the truth about the situation. What I do know, it's not an acceptable situation. That's what I do know. That young people are being taught to accept that it's okay to work and not be paid, much as be paid on time. I know that's unacceptable. That's my opinion. I think people.
By the way, there's something on the internet here about FIFA normalization committees, and has Trinidad and Tobago as a case study. So maybe somebody can go into this thing called Law in Sport and look it up.
Say it again.
Interesting. There's something on the internet.
Can you send that for me, please? Could you?
Well, no, you have to register a thing to get in. You have to register.
Send me the link so I can register.
Yeah.
You see what happens? Man is gone again. Man's internet is giving him a hard time.
Yeah, but look, I don't think it's an easy to resolve situation for the JFF and the girls. But at some point, people have to come to their senses and realize that this cannot continue. If you want win-win, somebody has to give in, or both parties have to give, have to be flexible, and also give way. They can't always have their way in totality. The JFF has to realize it has to do better. How it engages with the girls, how it communicates with the girls, how we compensate them for their services. The girls have to realize that they are subordinates. They are the product. They don't decide who their coach is. They don't decide who assistant coach is. They don't decide who the medical staff is. They can be informed, but it's not their decision to make. And they have no input into that. If their input is requested, that's one thing. If it's not requested, they have to go along with the program. Or else don't play. That's how it works. If you think that is something that you're obligated to get from your administration, they don't provide it, then you can make a decision of your own volition whether or not you want to play or not. Right? My hope would be, as people have suggested, where there's an agreed mediator by both parties. When we have conflict, we have this either mediation committee or this one person functioning that role who have mediation skill set to engage us and we agree with the decision of that persons are persons. We don't get a decision because it doesn't go our way, then we push back, right? We agree that a person is objective, they're impartial, and they will provide perspective, and they'll provide their opinion based on facts and circumstances and not based on some feelings. So hopefully they will find a way to get this done so they can coalesce going forward. But right now, very disruptive, counterproductive, and something that should not continue because it doesn't help anyone.
You hear people in the region all the time talk about, where they attended school and what degrees they have and all that kind of stuff, and they may have knowledge on a particular subject matter, but if we can't use that knowledge to make things better for our people, then what's the purpose of having that knowledge, right? Education is being able to take that knowledge and make things better for your people. And look, it's a mentality thing. As I hear you talk about it earlier, it's a mentality thing. If we don't have humility and we don't have all of these things that you pointed out just now, okay, and we cannot bring ourselves to a place where we can compromise and make agreements, then Jamaica, Trinidad is coming up soon, but Jamaica is in a good position right now. You mentioned the person that's running against the president and his inability to answer your question last night. This is an opportunity for the stakeholders in the football, if they want the environment to change, to have a conversation and really get these people, as you pointed out, to not just to say what you have done, but what you're going to do for football. How would you handle this type of situation in the future? How would you avoid this situation from taking place? So you have two people running. They're coming out of the same space. As far as I understand, they would not agree to have a debate, right? To have a conversation, and so that the stakeholders could understand what they're about. I think that's a real problem, and there should be a push to get people involved that could lead, that could bring about a different mentality and truly bring about change. Otherwise, you're correct, things wouldn't change.
Well, no, if you keep doing the same thing all the time and expect different outcome, that's not gonna happen, right? That's what we're seeing, which is
you're quoting Mr. Butler now. That's good.
Mr. Who? All the time. That name. I have no comment on that name. But you're not gonna get different outcome from doing the same thing all the time, and that's what we see with the JFF. And you're right about the view of egos, because egos always play into these situations. The people in authority believe they have an elitist mentality. They believe it's all about them. They're not patriotic, even though they think they are. They don't operate with a view that, what's best for the collective and what's best for the country is about what's best for them and massaging their ego and how they operate. And therefore, they don't know how to compromise.
Right.
And I had a discussion with somebody on management program a while back. I remember this. And I called in one of my lunchtime, one time my lunchtime ever, and I said I'd never do that again. And the person was on the program, and I was explaining to the person the need for compromise, and the person went off. Not a JFF member,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's well known in the football community. He went off about he's not compromising, and he just went off. And I was listening to him thinking that that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a persuasion problem, which is we believe that we're always right. We believe being right justifies our action.
Yep.
I know people who are in business who compromise when you would think, and they hate each other, by the way. They don't respect each other.
Right.
And because they want to have achieve an outcome which benefit both, they'll do business.
And
they do business because you know what? They're both going to benefit.
I think
we struggle with that as a people.
I think one of the things, we take, all the disrespect stuff and all that stuff, we take it a little too far. I want to ask you about something. I heard it last night. I don't know if you heard it, and I don't know. And management, you could answer this as well. I don't know if I've ever heard it happen anywhere else. There was a part of the discussion that talked about wanting to pay 43 people instead of 23 people that went to the World Cup. Have that ever happened anywhere before? And what is you guys understand the?
No, it's not went to the World Cup. I think what they're saying is that there are a number of people, if you talk about the inception of the process to get to the World Cup, right, through the end of the World Cup, there are a number of people who participate in the early phases of the tournament.
Yes.
To the part that they probably didn't get to the World Cup.
Right.
So you have to make sure all those people get compensated.
Has that ever happened before?
Yes. In 1998, all the people who participated in the qualifiers get some money. They didn't get the same amount of money as those who played in the World Cup. And I'm going to tell you why. If you remember, we had players that joined the team at the World Cup. Think about it, Andre.
Yes.
I understand the idea. The idea. The thing is when, look, you plan for stuff. You put things on the table, and that's where the, people, I don't know if I like the word, but it represents what transparency. So if you're preparing for a World Cup, right, you have to sit down and brainstorm all the different scenarios, right, that comes up. So there was reference to a contract. Was that in the contract?
That is it. I don't know that it was. It don't sound like that was a part of the contract. To me, it just sounds like something that they said, this is what is the norm, or this is what is going to be done.
But we can't rely on the contract conveniently.
No, but
Man having trouble with his internet.
Yeah, he's paying them in pennies.
Yeah.
And they keep cutting it out. They said he's paying them in Jamaican dollars, and they say they want real money.
Is the JFF a sponsor? Maybe somebody's trying to save him.
He's borrowing JFF internet. But no, I would expect that everybody who participated is no different from players, for example, part of a team. They get to the stage of a competition. They're no longer involved with the squad. They may get a trophy or they may get paid.
I don't have a problem with the idea, right? I think the idea is noble, right? But the question is, when did it enter the discussion? That's the question, right? And if it wasn't part of the contract, then you have to make a case to the players that went, because when FIFA paid, did they pay for the 23 people that participated, or did they consider the 43 as well?
I would think that maybe I would assume each stage of the tournament you get some kind of compensation, right? What's Douglas saying?
Let's say why you ready for the conversation?
If he's ready for we did say he can't participate in every conversation. So maybe take himself away when it gets too toxic. But no, I will think that everyone gets compensated some way or form. Those who go further in the tournament will get more money. The question is, did you work out those scenarios?
Right.
That's not what stages you get what monies. That's the question.
Because the truth is, when it comes to international football, you could go online and find out what the Canadian players get paid for the different type of friendlies. You can
But
go
even Canada is having money problems. Look at Canada. Canada had money problems.
Yes, at some point in time, federations do. But what I'm saying is, and like we discussed with the Grenadian president recently, if there's an agreement, right, it's understandable, right? And if something goes wrong and there's a discussion about the situation and there's transparency, then it's easier to deal with. But if everything is happening in the dark, so to speak, and people not sure about what's going on, and then it becomes even more difficult. Because think about it, if you're one of those players, because we don't know anybody's financial situation, right? So yes, people are making money playing for their clubs, but you don't know what their financial situation is. And playing for the national team, they may there's an opportunity to earn some more revenue so I can take care of this, right? And then they go and they don't get paid. Sometimes we don't know what they're sacrificing. You leave and go to play for your national team, and you go back to your club, and you could find things running a little bit different. So,
my apologies, but I don't know what to do.
Every time the conversation get a little,
I think you should stop apologizing because we already said you outside the program. There'll be some part of the conversation you can't partake in, so you will excuse yourself. To make sure you don't get compromised.
Two important things, because I want to respond to the whole what has been done in the committee, in the community, in your parish when you're running for the presidency, because I need to ask Andre something, all right? I need to point out that. But what I'll say is that I think, I do not believe that the 23 girls have a problem with the girls who are playing in the qualifiers get some sort of compensation. I don't believe so.
Right.
Right? Let me just put it out there. I believe that they will be okay. And it is just fair, because I could play every game up to the last one, help the team qualify and get injured. Mm-hmm. All right? So that's one thing. Number two, precedents have been setting that. Other federation, Brazil has done it before, as I know, on the male side, and France, where players who played in the qualifiers get compensation out of the money that was given for the World Cup. And I know in 1998, that happened. All right, they're asking. All right, so that's one thing. The second thing is, not all the girls from the World Cup are suspended, because some of them actually, especially the ones in college, have college obligation and could not make it because they are taking time off for the World Cup and for the games against Canada. So just be clear on that, because it should not come across like all of these girls have taken the same action of the 23. There are some college girls who it is because of college obligation why they cannot make the trip. So that must be stated clearly. Whether or not they're in agreement is a different thing, but I know they have college obligation. Right? In fact, there's an article in the newspaper that says it. It says there are about 5 of them who are college players who came to us and said they had school commitments, and that's a reason that is allowed under the FIFA rules. All right? So there is that as well. All right? So that must be put into context for those who have a problem with the girls. So if you see some of these girls, you don't say down the road.
So here's the question. Are we sure all 5 girls have games during this period?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even so, sometimes we won't go into semantics because we don't know. But are the two? Is it really the case, or do I have a very convenient excuse that works for me?
well, maybe it is. That's what I'm saying. That maybe it is.
But you're right. That did come up about 5 of the girls. Yes.
Yeah. And to be fair, I know at least one of them has a niggle and asked, and they communicated before this whole letter thing came out. All right. So before this whole issue about the letter, they had communicated their unavailability due to demand of the college thing, right?
It's kind of interesting. Right? Wait. It's
You
it's
saw
not
that in the
interesting that
papers, right?
wait. So let me say this. Listen, every single girl who played in the World Cup are not coming, right?
Yes, not yeah,
Okay. I think that says it all. But anyway, keep going.
yeah. But some
Every
of
single person who participated is not coming.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
College or no
All right.
college.
All right. And people, Trey Moon, I presently serve as the team manager for the male senior team alone. And I do it only when I am not employed as a staff at the JFF. All right. Right. So I only do it when the senior male team have a game. All right. Yeah, the
So
newspaper.
can I respond to this, Carl Wallace?
Hold on. You saw. Hold on here. You saw. Cranky. You saw
Cranky
the.
let that pass.
You saw the letter that an olive branch has been extended. It's in the newspaper today. So that
What's
is
the
in
olive
the,
branch?
meaning the JFF supposed to have a meeting and an olive branch has been extended to the girls. I think this is Dennis Strong speaking. So I haven't read the whole thing. All right, but
Yeah,
let me
okay.
ask you
I
something.
haven't read that either, but
Andre,
I know you may extend the branch, but I may not take the branch. But that's another thing.
what I want to ask, Andre, before you answer, Carl, and what are the criteria? What is the qualification first to be the president of the TNT football? Is it association or federation?
Association, TTFA.
Yeah. Is there like educational qualifications? You know, financial qualification. Uh, is there any set criteria
I
that
have never
this is the
seen.
minimum standard?
I've never seen anything official. It seemed to have always been who the stakeholders favor, the people who could vote at the time, and who potentially could put some money into the football, right? Or who can get
Okay.
votes by whatever, however they go about doing the business there.
Isn't that the problem we have in Doe Cranky? Because based on your first question that you're asking, I raise that issue because maybe we don't have any criteria.
Yeah,
And that is the problem.
yeah.
For who becomes the president,
That's a
it's
very good
the
point.
same thing in the politics, you know. You can become a councillor and a member of parliament by just starting by running a corner league. Not that corner league are a bad thing, but should there be like a certain level of education, you know, certain level of experience, a certain level of engagement involved in management up to a certain, should that be an actual thing that regardless of, in other words, all candidates must have these minimum standards? I don't know, maybe there is. Should there be some minimum standard for persons to lead MA? What do you think about that, Cranky? And then at least we'd know.
Well, look, I don't want to put educational criteria on personnel because sometimes you have smart people who fall to the crack and go to school, but over time they build up experience and knowledge that affords them the ability to run large organizations.
Okay.
Enough people leave college. Bill Gates left college. All those people you see have them run these technology companies. They're smart enough to go to college and say, no, college is not for me. It's a waste of my time. I'm up ahead of that. But here's the thing, though. My question to him was this, mainly. What have you done to suggest you can do the job? That's fundamentally the question. It was a little bit more polished and political about how I put it. What are your accomplishments? What's your qualification? And all he talked about was what, you know, it's not about me. It's about we and what we have done. I'm part of this competition committee. I'm part of this. If you ask me that question, I can tell you what I have done in my life, in any discipline that I've been involved in. If I'm going to pursue a vocation, I'm going to pursue a job, what I have done, and also what I've been a part of to show I'm a team player, I can lead, that makes me qualify for the job. I will just tell you about we. What have I done? I was instrumental in XYZ. I helped to form, I have a parish that I was in charge of. I instituted these things, these policies, the framework, the standard, the structure. I set up this program. When you heard the Grenada president talk about what they have done, or what you can tell what he has done and what they have done in an organization to move their football forward. So if you're leading, you can say, I instituted this, or we worked to do this, and I was part of it. I was a leader. Because something you're part of an organization, what role did you play? Just part of the committee? Or were you influential? Did you lead it? What role did you play in none of the conversation we had last night, and his perspective and his responses, did I walk away and say, you know what? Yeah, this person is qualified for the job. I could see him making a difference. I could see him transform the organization. If transformation is a key criteria to get the role, what have you transformed? What have you initiated? What have you basically done? You're part of the organization for 37 years, and you talk about you're the second in charge, and you can't tell me what you have done. You're a leader in the organization. You have a role. Did you take charge of an initiative and run that initiative? Nothing. So I walk away saying, so when Carl is saying he answered my question, Carl, maybe he answered the question the way you thought it should be answered, not the way a reasonable person thinks it should be answered. What qualifies you to be a police? What do you think skills that you have to think to be a policeman, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be the president of the United States? What qualifies you for the job? Well, wrong example, because that has no qualifications. So I take that back.
Just think about this. Just think about this, and
I take that back.
Guys, think about this and tell me, is this a representative of the dysfunction that we are talking about? That the two candidates, just imagine if the two candidates that was running for the presidency of the United States is the current president and his vice president.
Well, that's an example like the JFF, by the way.
Well,
That's
but
a
that's
perfect
what I'm
example.
saying. This is what I'm saying. So is this represents the dysfunction that we are talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Because what are the
it's
choices
a perfect analogy. It's exactly. I don't know who is who in that situation, but perfect example.
Man, this is where now you're gonna have to put your toe in there. You may have to step into the fire, because what are the stakeholders really don't have any choice.
And I hear what we do. We name drop to say who's part of my team. So my team qualifies me for the job. It's not what I have done, it's what my team's resume look like that qualifies me for the job.
That's a very important point, let me think about. Imagine this surreal. Imagine that the next general elections in Jamaica were Andrew Holness and say his deputy prime minister, and those are the only two candidates.
Yeah.
Like
that's what we have.
Yeah, it's like I don't like it's the same party. Basically, it will be the same party.
Yes.
So the people are running around putting ink on the finger. I think you all still do ink in Jamaica, right? And believing
well,
that
no, it's not entirely the same party, because what happens is his deputy decided he wants to usurp him. He wants to take over the job. So he go get two other persons, a couple persons from outside the organization to be part of his team, because the prime minister already has the team that's going to be in, which is people in current place. So he used to get some new people to say, these people will be better than the other people who we have on his team, basically. But conceptually, it's very similar. It's the same party with a few new names to run the organization.
What is the solution? Management, what's the solution? Is it possible to encourage others to find other candidates that the stakeholders would that's unfair to ask you that.
No, Andre, you can't answer that. So Andre, let me say something like this.
Let me ask you that.
Before we move forward, Andre, it's funny because A.M. Henry, I'm going to like A.M. Henry better than I did before we get here. I thought she was a spy. So A.M. Henry is saying he didn't have a vision. He couldn't come in. First of all, he can't tell you what he has done, and he can't tell you what he's going to do. That's amazing. And he wants to be elected. He has no manifesto. Because if he gave me his manifesto, then others can see his manifesto. You only have two of you. So if you come with your manifesto, the person can then say, that's what I'm going to do, because you came out first, and because they're copying you. But you have no manifesto. You don't have a strategy. You don't have a vision. You have nothing specific you're going to put in place. And by the way, you can't point to anything you have done to suggest that you have a vision.
I'm
confused. Some of these comments are ripping me up. Duclan says maybe Mr. Anderson two secret members at the slate.
What did he say?
Is Mr. Chug and Mr. Ricketts. But this I think that is in response to you. CC, I don't know, that there's a official non-disclosure? Maybe some persons have. I don't know. I couldn't answer that question. But Cranky, this is for you. Because Mr. Wallace
well, Carl, maybe Carl is Mr. Wallace's protege or proxy, but he said nothing where he has done something. He's part of a leadership team. He didn't say he was the leader.
All right. Yeah.
In the organization you have, they say management heads up this church, but management has a team. He's the leader of the church.
And I could say, yeah, but I could say, listen, but because this is, though the church does things, as an example, I still do other things that I could put my hand on and say, listen, I started this in this community. You understand me? In other words, and that's what you're saying. Yes, they are committee-based things, but come on, what
management, you know what I expect from management? You know what I expect from him? He gives, in his 37 years, there are 4 or 5 key things he has done, he has led, that show it's about what he has done. And you can point to 3 or 4 more as a team where you can, so he's showing I'm a team member, I work good with a group, I'm a good leader, people value my perspective, and they value me. But he also shows how he differentiates himself as a leader. Yeah. None of that came across management. None.
Like, for example, you could say, like, listen, I was instrumental in the resurfacing of so-and-so. I was a person who wrote the proposal, and out of that, like, those are kind of personal accomplishments, right? That are, they may be indirectly connected to the team, but they are direct things that you have done.
Yeah, I started a YouTube channel. I say I have some panelists with me who are my regular guests. You know, I started the channel, and then I bring people into my mix. They could be small things management. I'm being facetious. They could be big things management. But you have done something. You can point to one thing that he has done is a differentiator.
I think one of the telling things, though, is because he has 2 persons that, I mean, the work that they do in local football must be commended, Mr. Carvel Stewart at Harborview and Chris Williams. Chris Williams says the overseas players are proxy, that's his word, they are proxy Jamaicans. And he's into local football. All right. He even call names, and he says, that's his thing. And he says, all right, if you don't want, and he's clear now. He says, if you don't want to focus on that, you can go on. A local football brand may a bit. You can't fight him for that because he's open, he's honest. So you have to respect Mr. Williams for that. Carvel Stewart has said the same thing. Right? But I think when the question was asked of Mr. Anderson, he's given a completely different perspective than those 2 persons who are part of his team.
But didn't he also have a view before last night when he was speaking management about this? I thought he had a view which is in line with what he said. He had a view that's different from what he said. Yes.
Right. And one of the other things he said is that check all the parish presidents. What have they accomplished? So really what he was saying is that you can't judge me on what I've done in my parish because none of the parish presidents have really done anything.
Well, management, and they say people will vote for the president. Management, they say people vote for the president.
So he was basically saying that can't be the measuring stick because there's nothing that they can put your hand on, probably in Clarendon, that Mike Ricketts can take credit for. And anyone else, I think that is what he was basically saying. He was saying, don't judge me on that because no parish president can take any credit for anything. Really. Which is sad.
Well, we know the parish presidents haven't done a lot. If you go to individual teams, you probably could do that, but not for the parish president.
So if you ask the same question to the current president,
well, I'm sure he has things he can point to.
Well, I think he's going to, because he's normally the person in power probably have more things to put their hands on, to be fair.
Because they have more resources, right?
Right. So why would he not be willing to have a debate or have a conversation? He should have a lot of things that he is proud of.
I don't think it is good for us to put these 2.
No, it is good for the process. It may not be good for us, but it's good for the process.
I don't like the idea, but maybe people want to hear it. I'm just thinking
wait. How as management says, how is the person and the deputy going to debate each other about what? They part of the same thing.
Exactly. Because what are they going to debate? They can't reveal your manifestos. They can't reveal your slate. Like, what are they going to debate?
It's like Kamala Harris debating Biden. That doesn't work.
what you're going to debate, you're going to tell the stakeholders, you're going to tell the public how you're going to.
That is the issue, Andre. That is the issue. I think that needs, because we keep on saying they need to tell the public. Really and truly, these guys only need to convince, which is part of the problem with the process. They only need to convince 53 people,
Well, and that's
that,
okay,
actually.
but the public plays a big role when it comes to revenue. You want to fill the office. When teams come to Jamaica, you want to sell shirts. There's a lot of things that the public get involved in. Like right now in Trinidad and Tobago, the public has been absent from football for the longest while. That equates to revenue. And I think if you want to run the organization, you have to engage the public. You have to give them something.
Yeah, no, Andre. You don't need to
winning the election.
No, to win the election, you don't need to engage the public.
Yes,
No, Andre, I have to tell you this. I tell you this, Andre. But most people get elected has nothing to do with the public.
Right, I understand that. You want to win the election. That's the goal. So
exactly.
You deal with who you have to deal with.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I get that. But I think you cannot miss the opportunity, because after you win the election, you're going to need the support of the people.
Because, but they're already in the position. So whether you support them or, in other words,
that's
irrelevant.
Then the next person is not going to do anything.
But we know that already. We know that already. They haven't done anything, and they've done it for 37 years. They're going to do anything for 38 years.
We need to pack up shop and move on, because we're not going to have the influence or the impact. We're not going to see change.
Andre, why would I expose myself to 3 million people when all I need is 30 votes? Explain that
exactly.
to me.
I think
I'm not talking the diaspora, people like Cranky and me and Kyle.
Wait. No, that matters, man. And those 3 million people don't have any influence over those 30 people.
Look, I think everybody have a role to play. I think everybody have a role to play, because at the end of the day, the fans are a big part of the process.
But
is the reason why when Mexico played the USA,
listen, like we don't. I think we listen to the big picture in all our election. Let me tell you what is happening. Mm-hmm. Here is what was said on the program that many of us miss, and that is why I never even call in our ask question. Here's some of the big things. Every person that has been invited who has a vote already has been given a position. That's an issue. In other words, the conviction to vote for a particular person now is based on a position, a promised position. Yeah. It has nothing to do with whether or not a candidate can really impact and change and transform the football. It's that I am going to get a position. And I think that is the biggest issue I have with this whole idea. I do not think like people should be nominating and giving this person position so that this person would vote for them. You have a vote, Mr. So-and-so, you have a vote, Mr. Parish President. All right, I'm going to come and meet with you. You can be the public relation officer. You can be the GenSec. You can be that. Just vote for me. What is the difference with a politician coming and giving a man some zinc and say, put this on your roof? And all right, I'm going to give you some zinc. If you vote for me, I'm going to put a roof on your house. What is the difference? It's vote.
There's a difference, man. There's a difference. You can buy much more zinc with this position. Much bigger difference, but you're right about the nepotism, the lack of transparency, the lack of independence in the process, and the fact of the matter is, as you're alluding to, which is I'm gonna use the word different from buying. You're acquiring votes along the way. You're acquiring votes. Is who gonna be? Is what I'm giving you a bigger role than the opponent is giving you, so then you may vote for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to make me head of accounts, but I want to travel, and the next person is going to make me a VP that I get a lot of. Who am I going to vote for? Yeah. You think, Andre, I'm thinking about Cranky in the diaspora at that point?
No, you probably won't be.
But you think I'm thinking about how many players are in England that can represent Jamaica?
But is it important that how much what was JFF revenue last year? Do you all know?
No, Mr. Speed Rudolph always refer to audited financial statements.
I'm not talking about FIFA money or anything like that. Revenue.
No. You said revenues would include FIFA money.
Right.
All the monies that you get, right? With all your revenue.
Frankie promised us that he's going to break down the finances. But he said,
well, if I can never get my hands on them, because my point is this, is that when you talk about revenues you generate and expenses you incur, time is of the essence. If you're going to give me a year or 2 years after the fact, they're dated, they don't make any sense. And that's what we're seeing. It gets referring to audited financial statements, but they never get audited in a timely fashion. You know, if you're going to issue a report to the SEC, like your annual financial statements or your 10K, they have defined timetable, right? It used to be 90 days, it's now much less. Their financials take a year to get audited. But if you get them, you're in another year, who cares about last year? That's why you have a problem with it. So don't give me all the financials. Walk me through what the money you've gotten the last three. For example, we're now in what? October? Yeah. No, it's 2022, but you're in October, right? Almost November. Do you have 930 interim financials? They're not be audited, but it gives me your total revenue, total expenses, or 831 financials. We never can get those things. They have to be audited. And if you wait for that, you may not survive because your life may expire. It's very difficult to engage them about this. So we never get a clear picture. And the last time we start talking about financials, they pull them down from their site. The last time we talked about financials, there wasn't financial, they pull them down, so you can't get access to them. And then Speed will tell you they're always there, they always posted. Go to the FIFA site, you go to the FIFA site, you can't find them. So
yeah. So Andre, so this is the issue we have, because and what it means is that if I got in, if my vote gave me a position, do you understand the conflict that I operate in?
Yeah.
And this is what this is the problem with the football.
We need I think A.M. Henry is Cronky's alter ego, you know.
Huh?
I think A.M. Henry is Cronky's alter ego.
Yeah. But I don't understand what is Carl saying. Is Carl still responding to your Cronky? Because I see an next
I know, Carl, he talked about competition committee, Carl, and frankly, the field is always a mess. If we talk about competition committee, Carl, you don't want to go there. He's always part of the leadership team. So if he goes wrong, it's not him alone. The competition
committee is like the JPL. He's not the organizer of the JPL. So we have to be careful.
He's not the organizer, but he oversees that because it's part of the purview of the JFF. Yeah. So he's going to take credit for something which he probably has no control over. Here's the thing, Carl.
So here what you're all discussing right now, and this is the problem with it. You're all discussing whether or not he had a position, not whether you agree with the position he presented.
No, man, he had a position.
No. We are asking the question of him, which is, what qualifies you to be the president of the JFF?
Right, and you say he didn't answer.
He answered, but it was always about a leadership team and what his role is, not what he has done, what he has led, where you can see the differentiation between him and others who may be around him. Like, if you tell me what initiative have you run, Cranky, I can walk about the initiative in my workplace that I've been in charge of, that I've overseen, or ideas I've come up with, which have been operationalized to achieve something, right? He can't come up with anything.
Yeah, like for me, Andre, I could say, listen, I have worked at, work with Freddie Butler to arrange this North American camp.
Yep.
Like what do you have? What can you put your hand on?
Right.
All right. You understand? I think that is what is being said, Carl. So I think you're missing the point that Cranky is making, though, Carl. And this is
No, he's not missing it. He's just being difficult. That's okay. I don't think he's missing it.
I think I'm going to CC. Cranky has been on very late, so you have to don't give it.
I have about 5-10 more minutes because I get up at 4:30 in the morning, CC.
Yeah.
So you're turning over at that time. Yeah.
Ask Cranky the question. He's the host. Do not give with the cataract questions. Don't give us a paragraph. Then you ask a question and you start to answer it. All right?
Well, Cranky, I work for home, Cranky, tomorrow, so probably wake 8:25. I do the work, so I don't go to the office tomorrow. My question is that I want to know specifically what is causing the problem, as in which money specifically is causing the problem, because they said every money is being paid up, but which money? Because the letter that came out alluded to money is not being paid correctly.
Right. So I think Speed referred to that on Friday. So there are two things. One is they're supposed to get the totality of the monies they have, including bonuses, is supposed to get paid, but only a portion of that didn't get paid. And certain money is outstanding. I assume there's some money of back money they haven't gotten paid, and or remaining money from FIFA they haven't gotten paid. Speed alluded to it. Speed said there's more money coming from FIFA, they should be get paid, and that they're owed money. And I think even the men's team are also owed money still, frankly. So the JFF always owe money. We know that. They always owe money. No matter what happens, they're still gonna owe money. But they have paid up quite a bit of the money. It didn't say how much. And Speed also said there was some miscalculation on the girls' part about the correctness of what they're supposed to get paid. So I'm assuming that the monies are in buckets, and one portion of the money is supposed to get paid. The girls are disputing the amount they have gotten versus what they should have gotten, and Speed is saying they miscalculated.
Based on the understanding that I'm getting, they would have the 1,380,000 that they get for the 23 girls who went to the World Cup, which is $60,000 per girl, which is 23 girls, right? That was paid. Then there's an issue with a 24th girl that should be paid, which to me that is a JFF issue, because JFF would have added or whomever added a girl to the roster, which that she wouldn't have been a part of the 60,000 or the bonus money in the World Cup pool, which is for 736 players. So that part of it.
736 players. What did you just say?
All right, I'm saying that for the Women's World Cup that was held the other day.
I understand what he's saying. The
FIFA
totality of
earmark.
people participated.
Yeah. So FIFA earmarked some money for 700.
I'll translate for you. As he goes on, I'll translate for you.
Yeah. So my thing is the 24th. There's an issue with the 24th girl, but that's separate. For the 23 girls, but the money that I'm getting to understand is that the bonus for qualifying to the World Cup is there, like they're saying that I think it's about 20% of the prize money. There was an agreement, a contractual agreement, that 20% of the prize money would be set aside as a bonus for the 41 girls who participated.
Yeah, but the girls, but I think the girls in the 23 are saying, I think this is where it's confusing, because the 23 girls are saying that money, the bonus money, should only be for the 23. The JFF is saying that is the prize money for everyone who participated, because all of you already got the 60,000 that was for the 23 that participated.
But man is man, if my calculation is correct, 20% of 1.870 is 374,000, and 90% of that is 336,000, which is $14,638 to 23 girls individually, leaving $2,077 to pay to 18 separate girls. See, so from my understanding, I'm trying to figure out if it's $2,077 times 18 is causing the problem.
I haven't done the math, but something is causing money. So money is causing the problem. I haven't done the math. But that's something's causing the problem. I haven't done the math, but look, it's not that complicated.
Wasn't the coach who added the 24th player?
No, I think Speed was saying, I think it was Speed and his people are saying that there was one person who was part of almost the entire thing, didn't necessarily was on the, may not have been on the 23, could have been on 23 person roster, but participated when they go to Europe, participated when they go to Australia, but didn't play in any games and wasn't the official 23. But because she was involved in everything from inception to then, they think she should get something. Now, to me, that sounds like an excuse, man, frankly. But that's why the payment was delayed. Come on, man. That can't fly with. Normal person would say, come on, Speed. Do better than that. Come up with another better excuse than that. Seriously. Because that was the case. Go work it out with the girls. Say to the girls, look, this person you guys see.
Who is that 24th player?
Don't know who that person was. No. He said it with Oral Tracy, and he said it when we spoke on Friday. Yeah.
For me, that 24th girl should be the responsibility of the JFF. Because I just set up. Yeah, the 24th girl would have been
No, look,
because
the JFF is not, no, CC, they could say this. Look, girls, you guys know that this person was part of the entirety of the process, from inception to the end. If you allocate a portion of yours, whether it's $500 to $1,000 for each of you, because you know she should get something. It's fairness on your part to do so, and make the girls make the decision whether or not they want to do it, right?
I'm going
Because
to
they're
say
not obligated to
something.
do it.
I'm going to say something, and this is not the views of I Am Sure Sports, but it is not something that is going to be bad. When it comes on to money and women, and asking women to part with $100, $200, or $1,000,
How you
that
know
is
that,
something that
CC?
is very. Yeah?
How you know that?
No, but they give it to their sister, Cece, to their sister, not to a man, to their sister, Cece, okay? They give it to her sister, part of their team. It's a family. Because the letter was signed by, nobody signed the letter, you know. Nobody signed the letter, you know, Cece. It was a Reggae Girls, so it should be all 43, frankly, signed the letter, as far as I'm concerned. But it didn't say Spencer, it didn't say Bonisha, it didn't say Spence, it said the Reggae Girls.
I never saw a woman get up and give a pregnant woman a seat yet. I never see a woman get up and give a woman with a baby a seat.
No, you know why? Because a man is there to give the seed. They had option. There's no option here. There's no option here.
So, CC, if the said money were split up to 24 girls, how much more less they would get from the 60? It was 60,000?
60,000.
So, and it's 23. So that would be 2,000 of each of them money, really, somewhere around there, or $3,000.
Yeah. Because
They don't have to give her. They don't have to make it equal to theirs, you know. They don't have to make it equal to theirs, you know.
You could have got $1,000 each.
It could be 50%. Yeah,
$1,000 each.
Exactly.
Would be $23,000.
And in fact, for some of them,
would have
if you're a U.S. citizen, it's probably not 1,000. It probably net out to be about 60 or whatever that is, because you're gonna pay tax on that money. That money is not that 6,000 not your money now. Uncle Sam have to get some of that money.
Yeah.
A big
I guess when they file them taxes, them
depends on the tax bracket, but it could be a decent number.
Yeah. But my thing is, even if I give the person $1,000, even when they file them taxes, them would just know say even that $1,000 is equal to 23,000. So each of the girl them could have consider and give the person $1,000 each.
They could.
Because I 24 go everywhere. Go every single location.
Well, what about what El Granny you were saying though, CC? If JFF sent the girl, then they should cover her.
Well, if he's saying that if the player was not registered as a player, then and JFF added the girl to the pool, then the JFF is responsible. But I'm saying that it should not be. But for me, the 24th girl, there's no issue with that person, you know, because that person that can't stop the next 23 girl them from playing.
But that's what so Speed is saying, that he's saying he delayed the process. What he's saying.
No, but that means it was JFF issue what they were working on. That JFF caused an issue in that part. Because all you have to do is pay the 23 girl them and make them decide.
You think if they gave the girls the money, then could go back and ask them to give the next girl CC? Come on. That's not going to work.
Man, this is the importance of generating your own revenue. The question is, why was the 24th player sent?
That's what I want to find out.
If the 24th player was sent
no, Frankie just answered that. Frankie said that because the player, according to Speed, Frankie said that because the player was with them, traveling was in Australia,
right.
Maybe a player was injured and they had to fill in to make up the numbers and stuff.
So if they're making that decision on their own, then they're responsible for that. And they have to pay that from the revenue that they have. Unless
it seems a very reactive way of operating versus, you know what? That should have been worked out a long time ago.
Yeah,
because that's what happened. They got that money from the World Cup. Should have been worked out a long time ago.
Because
let me just answer Carl for a second. All the time. Carl saying, I need to stop the personal attacks. If I ask somebody about the qualification, I'm just repeating what transpired. You see, I'm not being transparent. I am not explaining things the right way. That's how I envision it. I'm not going to go into all the details.
She was listed as an alternate, but for me, I think the federation.
CC. The man make a point and he just change and gone for something completely.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
I want to respond to Carl. Carl is saying I am doing personal attacks and I should stick to the facts. If people want to know what I'm saying, go listen to the program that was on Coach's Desk last night. That's all I say. Listen to the question, listen to the responses, draw your own conclusion. That's all I'm saying.
Carl,
Don't take my word for it.
But Carl, who is saying the responsibility for paying the girls it with the other 24? No, man. Nobody said that. Nobody said that, Carl. Nobody said that. I am saying, and Cranky has said it, and CC Andre, if the JFF added the person, then they should take responsibility for paying the person.
Because if they don't do that, they are making decisions on other people's money.
There you go. Kyle, Lord have mercy. So you have two Wallace you're going to have to deal with, no Cranky. You're going to have to end. Only the JFF knows this mystery girl. As far as I am concerned, they submitted 23 players to FIFA for payment, supported by documents or contract. The JFF has no right in changing the terms.
But we do know how Kyle feel about the JFF, so it's one bigger than Kyle's feeling. Look,
but then management.
Yeah.
But then
I would say this, which is go ahead, CC.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Carl is saying that there are personal attacks on him, Cranky.
What personal attacks?
I don't know. I must have missed something. I don't know.
Well, Carl, if you think I had personal attacks on you, I'm not attacking you at all, Carl. If your name is Henderson, Raymond, I'm not attacking you personally, whoever your name is.
So you know what?
You are under, I'm not attacking you.
No, man, I know Carl, you know. Carl and Kyle are related, you know. One is the senior, one is the junior.
Okay. Well, I'm not attacking Carl personally. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm pointing out the facts. And if someone's gonna tell me they're part of some committee as to that their accomplishment, that's not accomplishing anything. You can point to what you have done as a person, or how you have led that committee, or what ideas you have formulated or executed on. I'm not buying that. If that's a personal attack, then it's personal attack.
So, CC, you are in agreement that girls who participated in the qualifiers should get some money out of the bonuses?
No, but all right. So that's why I say what I said.
No, you don't agree. Or no, you're not going to answer the question.
No. So I'm clarifying. I'm saying that the bonus, which is the 60,000.
Hold on. You have to answer the question first before you clarify your answer. You can't clarify your answer the question. Yeah.
Because all right. I'm in agreement that the 41 girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm saying I'm in agreement that the 41 girls should get a part of the bonus from the prize money, which is the prize money where the JFF would have gotten. The prize money should be what them say. I think it's 20% of the prize money. It should be supposed to be shared between the girls, and I think the 41 girls who participated should be a part of it, which is 23 first team, 23 players who went actually to the World Cup, and the 18 that did not make the final squad.
Okay.
The 60,000 now is to be shared. The 60,000 is to be individually to the 23 players. So the 23 players then would have get 60 plus 14 mash would have be 74,000. So would that
24 player be a part of the 18 as well?
That 24 player would be part of the 18 and would get the $2,080.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying that. So that's why I'm saying that that 24th player would have been a part of the 41. And they would have participated.
Yeah, I think you're right, because come to think of it, that 24th player would have benefited from like per diem and all of those things.
Yeah.
So while the other 18 would not be benefiting from that. So that 24th player would eventually get more money than even the 18.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That person would have gotten per diem and all them thing there. So I think that the JFF created that issue for themselves if they delayed payment because they wanted to give something to the 24th player out of the 60 grand. That is where I think the issue came down. They would have caused an issue for themselves.
You know what, though, CC, to be fair to the girls, though, I don't hear the girls saying that they had any problems with the 24th player getting even a money. Like, I didn't hear that.
No, but in the letter, it said that their bonus payments were made correctly.
Yeah, but I don't think when they are saying that, though, it is suggesting that, like, personally, I don't think if that decision was made and the 24th player got some money, I cannot believe that the girls would have been upset about that. I don't believe that. That's me.
Personally, I don't believe that should be a problem either.
Exactly.
I don't think they would have a problem either. But for me, when the statement come out and say bonus payments aren't paid correctly. And then when the answer that I got was that there was an issue between the 41, which is the prize money bonus, which is a different thing. So that's why I'm saying that.
Look at this. The 24th player also posted the letter as well. So see, she's standing with the girls. so that's what I'm saying.
The problem is with the process then.
Exactly.
It's the process is the problem. And again, the process goes back to leadership. It goes right back to leadership. And this is where the people who want to run these MAs, they need to be, these are concrete examples of where leadership has failed. How are you going to avoid this in the future? How are you gonna deal with this? How are you gonna make sure that the players, that the environment is a player-centered environment, where the players are treated in the way in which they should be treated, and we don't have these issues?
Listen, I think
Real Albala said that 24 player is more likely a local girl. That little extra money would be so appreciated. Salute, JFF.
All right, see, Henry is saying in the letter, because I see it in the letter, do not, they weren't paid in full and correctly. So that's why I say,
but we are also assuming that is because they gave the 24 player money.
But may I say, when they say the 24th player is in support of the letter, right? If they said they're not being paid in full and correctly, the 24th player can't say that she not get paid in full and correct, because her payment is the per diem and look much fee and them look a lot of stuff there. So she can't say that. So she couldn't support a letter saying you did not get paid in full and correct.
Yeah, because that's the next thing. Why would she put that there that she's not being paid?
Exactly. So that may I say to you, say, for me, all of this should have been worked out from before them even go at the World Cup. So when them qualify and everything, when the 24th player was traveling with the people, it should have been worked out to say, all right, this is what is going to happen. Because we already know the prize, the monies that were available when the girl if they move on per round. We knew the money that was available. So all of the information to collate a contractual arrangement or agreement was there. You understand what I say, management? All of the information was there on the table.
Mr. Wallace, I have a lot of respect for you, sir. All right? You're sounding like we are against the girls. All your sentiments are that. And what I've heard is support for the girls. Andre has been strident about the leadership and the capacity or the lacking capacity of the leadership. So I don't know what the point you're trying to make, because you're making it sound like persons on the panel have a personal vendetta against the girls. I respect you, sir. Do not express sentiments that is suggesting that, because I don't think Cranky has sounded that way. CC has sounded that way. I don't think I sound that way. And I don't think Andrea sounded that way.
Management, I was doing management.
I certainly haven't.
Yeah. So I don't know where it's getting, but go ahead, Cranky, because you're really the host.
You know what I was doing? I was pulling up an executive compensation discussion analysis that's filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission when they try to justify executive compensation. And I was reading through it. There's a number of I here. I have led. I was in charge of this. I have hired. This is a very senior person at Fortune 500 company. They're talking about their compensation and why they should be benefit from the compensation they've gotten. This is about qualification and role and performance. And the outline we is in there, led this committee, part of this committee, but it's trying to substantiate why I should be paid, which is about me and what I have done. I have led, I have managed, I have executed. So when Carl is trying to explain and tell me about him saying he's part of some committee, it wasn't answering the question. As a reasonable person would expect you to answer the question. When you are running on, say if you're running for a position and you have people around you, what are your qualifications as an individual which then ties to the collective in some way, shape, or form? So what Carl is saying, I'm struggling with. and his assumption here about us and our perspective on the girls, which we have tried to be objective as possible. And you hear me arguing with Tigat when he was here about being balanced in his approach. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I just think that the thing about it, the process through which the payments and everything arrived at, that led up to the issues that is happening right now. And I think certain actions that were taken, were to me extreme actions, and it was on the leadership in terms of them creating their own problem, because you must have foreseen an issue with how you are going to arrive when the payments came in. So for me, that's the issue surrounding everything. So you created a problem, and now you're penalizing the parties involved for their reaction to the problem that you created.
Yeah, I think that's what Andrew was saying. The environment is not there. But Cranky, this was a very startling response, and I'm wondering if Mr. Speed was so upset that he just blurted out that I think the words
I think he believes. Look, where he's coming from is that he believes that I was sort of saying he need to go watch somebody else to inform his view about how we should operate. And he took it personal, right? He took it personal. And that's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying, frankly. There's no ambiguity in the suggestion, which is you are saying certain things, you're espousing certain view, you're saying you're transparent, and I'm thinking you're not transparent as you think you are. But you keep pointing to all the financial statements as your suggestion of how transparent you are, which tell us nothing. What the Grenada president did was saying he's transparent with his players, he's transparent with his audience. And he gave us, as not Grenadians, Manningsman, just general person from some other countries, an insight into how things work and specific costs of flights that they incur and programs that they run. We're not part of his constituent. We don't have a right to know. But he's educated and inform us about that's transparency management and say, look, players, I may get $1 million from FIFA, but these flights and these money we spent don't even equate to that $1 million. So I can't pay you today, but I'm going to try to pay you tomorrow when I get more money. That's transparency. What Speed and JFF is doing, they may think it's transparency, but not the view from a normal person on the street. That's not transparency.
Yeah,
that's hiding behind formalities.
You know that is. I think if the approach that the Grenadian FA president took is taken by more MAs, then they would get more public support. Which is, listen, here is the money we have. In flight alone, and he said it. He said even for Jamaica it is worse. Because unlike Grenada, he said Jamaica participate in every single competition on the male and on the female side, both in CONCACAF and the FIFA ones were necessary, and the Caribbean ones. They normally in Grenada don't participate. So it is to their benefit, you know. I believe it is to the Federation benefit if they put out those kind of information. So people can really see that we get $1 million and 900,000 of that is for just travel and hotel accommodation.
And management, you know, Andrew and I talked about this previously, I think it was, which is around, and I've said this in another program, there's a lack of trust in the JFF, right, management?
Yeah.
So if you come out and are presenting these figures and they can be corroborated and substantiated, then you'll build up that trust that you have totally lost across your fan base, right? If you come and tell me that FIFA gave you 2 million and I spent XYZ, you can tell me, by the way, these are not finalized numbers, they're not authorized numbers, they may be numbers which are estimates sometime, or numbers which we haven't finalized, but here are the numbers in general, they're approximations. Then people would say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. They're taking the view that it's none of your business. That's, you know, that's how we run our program. You have nothing to do with that. You just come watch the game and pay your money. And by the way, we're not a public organization, so we're not obligated to you. And it just seems like that's not the way to work.
But there's a couple of things here. The idea of transparency in that regard is important. It's only part of the solution, because to just be transparent to show people you can't pay, you have a responsibility to generate enough revenue so you can eat as well, right?
Andre, not mind that, don't show people that they cannot pay. If you work the man, pay the man. Nobody
Yeah, you've got to generate
But
revenue.
Andre, so here's an example, Andre, here's an example. Suppose I have $10, Andre, right? Suppose I have $10, Andre, right? And I have to spend that $10, Andre.
Yeah.
But my obligations are $20, Andre. I only have 10.
Right.
If I don't pay down my bank note, Andre, I owe the bank some money. They have some collateral. It could be my house. It could be my car.
Right.
It could be the land, Andre. Someone
Right.
lose something. If I don't pay Andre, the football player, I'm going to hear some noise and some disagreement, but I'm not losing anything for that.
Well,
Which one would you choose, Andre? Which one would you choose?
The football player has to behave different now. And because
But that's the example. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, we need to make them recalculate that decision.
No, the football player says, I'm not going to come play because you're not paying me. But I say, I have to run that. So you run that risk. So that's a risk you take. So you're saying to yourself, should I lose the car to the bank, or do I lose the player not coming to play? But I know the player going to come play. If the player don't come play, I get another player. So I know I'm not running any risk. My risk there is limited. It's not as significant as the risk losing my car. So I'm going to take the risk with the player.
What the players need is a players association. So you have somebody that represents the player that can take on these tasks. So then that problem, the players not doing that on his own, because most
players should do.
A lot of organizations don't like to operate with people who are unionized as well.
They don't. Most corporations don't nowadays. No, what they should do is what Skillful is to do, Bunny's man. I'm now pee until I'm now go for the field until you see half of my money. I'm not playing until you pay me half before I step on that field. That's what I heard Skill used to do. And Skill goes a famous Jamaican Skill. Disagree because he's still alive. That's what I heard he used to do, which is I'm not playing until you give me a portion of that money or all the money as I'm not going on the field. And that's what they should do, which is they hold you hostage. So you have no choice but to get the money. And you warn them before you go to the game, which is before you come to this game, you gotta give me half the money else I'm not playing.
Your new fun friend A.M. Henry says, I would have answered Cranky the same way as Mr. Smith, asking him to go listen to how someone else manages something. I will tell you to take a hike. Then she said, you could reference the Grenadian president interview rather than telling the man to go listen to it.
Well, no, because we're talking about, she's right. Also, look, in when you're in those situations, sometimes you're trying to help, but how you formulate the information and present the information may not be digestible.
It's true.
No, he could have also managed it better.
Listen. You understand me?
He could have. We both could have handled it better. That's the way I view it. Actually, I wasn't trying to disrespect him, but he was talking about transparency and financial statements, and I want to give him a view as to what real transparency looked like. Yeah. He could have come back and say, you know what, Cranky, I'll listen to it, but I think we know how that operates, how that works. Or you know what, Cranky, I think we know it operates, so I don't think there's a need to listen to it. He was very confrontational, which is
you think at this stage now, national team footballers across the Caribbean should represent their country without being paid? Because the MA said they can't afford to pay them.
Footballers, if you're a professional footballer, that's your profession, right? So every time you played, I mean, a player could go into a game and get his knee smashed away, right? Playing for a national team, right?
Yeah.
So my point is this.
One question.
My point is this. If the MA is doing everything that they could, and they make an agreement with the players in terms of what they can afford, and it may be less than what the player is worth, basically. So let's say the US, for different games, let's say they play the players $20,000 a game.
No, let's not use the US. I want to focus. I don't want to go on hypotheticals. Say the MA at Trinidad said, okay, I've listened to Andre. I realize, and he has made a valid point. Moving on from here, we are only, based on what we see, it would be better for us to commit to paying these guys $100 TNT. If there's a way that we could ever afford more, we would. Would that make you feel more comfortable in players playing?
Yes, that's a better situation. You provide them a better environment, just like the Grenadian president said. If you're providing them with a good environment, you make an agreement, the player accepts it, and you follow through with the agreement. You pay them and you pay them on time. I think because there's a lot more, playing for a national team has to do with pride as well, right? And it's important, and every player wants to do it. Every player wants to do it. I saw an ad today.
Andre.
Yeah.
Andre, I bet this. Can't prove it because that's a fact. I bet most of those players would play for Jamaica if they weren't getting a cent. If there was no money involved and you can play for your national team, you have a choice not to play because you get no money involved, I bet most of them would play for the national team.
Yeah, man,
when they talk about Inter Pinnacle, you know what the first thing they say? A Jamaica International.
Yes, but remember, he's making a boatload of money every week.
No, but forget about the money. Even if you're an amateur player, on your resume, you played for a national team.
Yeah,
if you're a college player, you played at the World Cup, Andre,
yes,
even you get no
value.
money. Exactly, it has value. Other than the coupon to get from
value.
them.
We cannot exploit that value. If we start to exploit that value, then who are we? Right?
No. The point I'm trying to make, Andre, is that the players are not playing for the national team because they're making money. Most players, I don't think, are playing for the national team because
I agree with that. But if a player is gonna look, football is really hard work, Cranky. Right? I know you have played football, right? And
I was not good to find the hard work.
American.
But when you play professional football, remember, right now you would probably struggle to get up and go exercise every morning. When you play professional football, you've got to there's besides getting up and going on the field and working hard every day, that's the expectation. There's a whole lot of other things off the field too. You have to limit your lifestyle. There's sacrifices being made, right? So not because it's a privilege and a player wants to play for the national team, it doesn't mean that you take away his earning capacity. I will continue to argue that is not inconsistent with back in the day when people were slaves and you work and didn't get paid. Right? You have
Andre, let me give an easy analogy. In track and field before you did amateur sport, people are still paying money at the gate. The runners weren't getting anything at one point.
Well, as you bring that in, bring that in. As I bring that in, I was talking about like for the Olympics.
Who are you addressing, CC?
No, Cranky. No, I was saying.
I'm just asking you. Who?
Andre.
Oh, Andre. Andre and who?
Cranky.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, but what I was saying.
You get the case mixed up. Go ahead.
Cranky interjected with the track and field, and that's where I wanted to, in terms of when players play at the Olympics, right? You have track and field athletes who go to the Olympics, and from my understanding, there's no fixed compensation. So you can either get nothing, or your country can decide to give you something. But there's no fixed compensation. So for the athletes, but for the players, mainly like for females, it's considered a senior, something the international tournament for women. For men, it's considered as a U23 youth tournament. So I wanted to know if the football players who go to the Olympics, like they see the women, do they get paid?
I don't know, actually. Good question.
I think what he's saying, you get the point, Andre. He's saying that when Usain Bolt goes to the Olympic, he doesn't get paid. If the Jamaican team went to the Olympic, should they be paid? Female team. If Shelley and Fraser don't get paid for running the 100 at the Olympics by the Jamaica Amateur Athletics Association, should the
how do they generate revenue? What is that? That's a industry that I don't. How do they generate revenue in that industry?
TV, same way. TV sponsorship,
right,
money from
money.
No, Usain Bolt didn't get Andre. Usain Bolt didn't just born rich.
No, what I'm saying is that
No,
if
no,
they
no,
say
no,
only
no. What I'm
J3
saying, he made
generate,
money. He's rich now. He made money. He made money.
but he made money from his own participation outside the Olympics, not from the Olympics. So just like the players like Pinnock make money from their team, that's how he makes money.
All right,
He
so be
participates in
careful
individual
now.
events, I get
Be
sponsorship.
careful with the argument that you're having. Football is an industry. People get paid to play football, right? And the
But he
Women's
says,
World Cup,
does the people go to the Olympics get paid? That's the question.
yes, they should.
So why should they get paid if the man who gonna run in the 100 meters not gonna get paid?
Somebody has got to
Representing
make that
their country.
argument. I'm involved in football. Somebody has got to make that argument.
Andrew, there's a cop out, Andrew. Just a cop
No,
out
somebody's
answer.
got to make that argument. But
That's
for
a cop out
football, I
answer.
think they should be paid.
Okay.
They should be paid because guess what? If you play for a club, and you're a young player, if you go to the World Cup, you get compensated, just like clubs get compensated for players that go and play in the World Cup.
Yeah.
There's a lot of revenue being generated in football.
Is this true though that the reggae boys are owed money, but most of them are paid enough by their clubs to
Yeah,
not?
that's not a
be
good
affected?
argument either. That's not a good argument either.
Yeah,
Look, we all agree you should get paid for your services.
exactly.
If there's a
Male
contractual
or
agreement that
female.
says, if there's a contractual agreement which talks about how the compensation process works and how you get compensated, then both parties need to satisfy the obligation. I play, you pay. It's not
There you go.
complex.
And the players are the most important piece of the picture. They're the one that generate revenue at all levels.
Yes, and
If
they're the ones
without
normally make out the most.
them, there's no show.
We
They're the
agree with that.
entertainers. So
You know, owners don't think that way, and some
No,
administration don't think that way because they can always replace the players, they say, so they're not the most important.
All right. What about the people who say no? And this is probably the final thing we'll take, and then we'll close out. If we give all the monies from these things to the senior male team and the senior female team, what do we give to the under 17 and under 15?
No, but management, management, here's where I have a problem with that. So here's the thing. When you work out the particulars of the finances, if I make $10, you don't get $10.
Okay.
I may give you $4 or $5, and the other $5 is to run my other operations.
right,
Okay.
right. So that's the
Because
point.
if I give you anything that I can only support those two programs, doesn't make sense.
So, some of that money that the women's team generated, a portion of that should be funding football further down the
Yeah.
you know, so it's
Here's a problem management. You know, for the country, we keep doing the analogy.
Let me ask this. Duklan, who deserves money at the Olympic? The man who wins the gold medal for Jamaica or the man who finishes fourth in that race? Who is more deserving? Because both of them have made Jamaica. Listen.
No, he said they get paid. I think what he's saying is that I think people.
If
I don't think not everyone gets paid. You may go and run out in the first round until you get paid. If you medal and if you finish a certain position, you get paid, but not everybody gets paid.
No matter, they must say that change. Somebody in the comment section has said change, and I'm telling them, first of all, the Olympics started as an amateur thing. So them always know it started as an amateur thing. Basketball players, all of them people that was going, it was amateur. So no payment never involved, and then they start make professional people go. Boxing was amateur, so you wear the little head guard thing. So all of the sports were amateur level sports.
They were amateur.
That is why compensation was never attached to the Olympics, even to this date. So a lot of countries don't really pay. It's just the Olympic Association of that country might decide to give the athlete something. Some countries them have a different package where them say you probably get land or the government gives you
Kevin Reed, you can call in, but you have like 2 minutes because you want to challenge CC. So call in quickly. And let me just set up this so you can challenge CC. Continue what you're saying, CC. Because he says
I have 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, because I gotta go at 5 minutes.
Yeah. So as you said, as I said, man, I was trying to figure out if the girls qualify to play at the Olympics, would they get compensation such as match fees and all of them things there when there's no monies allocated towards persons who participate in the Olympics.
Maybe it's a good thing that it never work out, so we don't even have to discuss it.
This is a good thing that work out, so we
Maybe
don't have
because it will be more problems now about more money, so maybe.
the reason I ask it come down to the professional, even the basketballers that goes to the
And I think
Olympics.
A.M. Henry is a
Do they
very
get paid?
is a smart person, you know. The problem with women's football is that it doesn't generate enough monies, I think, to cover its operational costs. I think that is the problem with women's football. The revenues, in other words, the federation must find ways to finance. It's like male football, your senior team, they can generate resources to take care of themselves totally. I don't think female football, we're not hearing you, Andre, you're muted.
Why are they owed money then?
Huh?
Why
No,
the
man.
men-
Remember, that is because I think what has happened with our male football is that our senior male team has been used to finance everything in the football, including at some point the female team. And I think that is the problem. So this is where now the marketing of the federation need to bring in more resources outside of FIFA and what the senior teams are making.
Yeah,
and
but that's what happens with most successful federations. They generate revenue.
not really. They're like Cayman Islands thing. The government of Cayman
We're
give them
talking
money.
about the region. You're talking about the region here. I mean, England
No,
generates
no,
revenue. I mean, a lot of times we look at England,
here's the
the
thing,
US
Andre.
generate revenue.
Here's the thing with the Englands of the world, Andre.
Yeah,
They have
but
the Premier League. There's a trickle. They have the Premier League. There's a trickle-down effect.
right.
Right?
Well, we have
The
to do
FA gets a
better.
cut of that, which they then distribute to their organization. So
I
it's
heard
not a
the
good comparison.
CEO of the JPL said that their goal is to create an industry around football. Right? And he's absolutely correct about that. That's what it is. It generates income all around the world. And that's the mindset that we need to have and stop dependent solely on the FIFA money and whatever subvention from the government or whatever the case may be.
But he's asking why the Philippines women are not having these issues. Maybe because the Philippines only have a female football team. I never hear about the Philippines male team, and they don't see them having the Olympian. Listen, the other thing, let me just say this, people. You see, people have to understand Jamaica. All right, and this is no excuse, but it's a factor that Jamaica too enough. I think Jamaica too enough. We try to do everything, and then you end up being good at it. And that is the problem. So everything is scattered all over the place. I think, we are enough people. We feel like we must be involved. We must be in rugby sevens. We must be in netball. We want to be involved in football. We want to involve in swimming, in meal. We want to be involved in everything. And we are a third world country that don't have enough money to even provide good health care. And maybe that is part of the problem. But let's take Kevin and then we close up the show. Kevin, you have your 5 minutes have gone down to 3.
All right, sorry. CC is me who correct you on that. Then it was free. You only paid athletes who broke the record. That's why when board was a record holder broke the record, he used to get 100,000 US. All of that changes now since this World Championship that gone. If you notice, from 1 to 10, get a prize money nowadays. So starting from this World Championship, the top 10 athletes get paid. That's what the Olympic Association is going to do now.
All right,
so that's why I said it. That's why I said to you.
Let me interject. Carla, you're speaking about the World Championship. The World Championship has always paid athletes for position placing.
No, CC. They only pay you when you broke the record, CC.
No, listen, hold on.
Remember good.
Hold on. The World Championship, there's always been money involved in the World Championship. You get money if you come first, second, third, fourth. Once you make the final, you get money where your place. If you broke a record, you get $100,000 more.
No, sir, you are wrong. Is this
listen to what
World Championship they started that prize money?
I said
you can't get any money from that I win, CC.
Listen to what I said, my boss. I said the Olympics.
Kevin,
Hold on up. I said the Olympics and you.
CC and Kevin. Cranky, Andre drop asleep. Cranky about to drop asleep. I'll be a drop asleep.
Yes,
Listen,
I have to go.
Yeah, you Kevin, you want to tomorrow, right? Can you and CC talk about this and get some facts and present them? And I will let both of you talk.
Me have facts, so we can bet CC any money on this. So no problem. Tomorrow we can debate.
All right, so tomorrow. All right, so tomorrow we have a debate between Kevin and CC.
Don't debate it while we're sleeping. Don't debate it while we're sleeping.
Yeah, okay. All right. Big up. Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah. Cranky, your show. You close it out and thing.
Yeah, so first I want to say thanks to Andre, T-Got, CZ for joining us. It was a really good discussion. We started out with a very vanilla topic around the Premier League and the results of the this weekend. And then and by the way, thanks to management to allowing us to host this program and his show in a little bit of his absence. And we also want to spare him the difficulty of addressing certain things surrounding the women's football team and the JFF. We do understand that there's passions on both sides of the argument. Everyone's going to have a view about this. It's very disappointing for everyone. Our hope, though, is our people, both the females and their supporters and their management, because they do have people, senior adults who are working with them, and the JFF, frankly, can realize that there are no winners in this situation. Both sides are losing. Money is one thing, but there's a larger issue at stake around the country. It's football, it's women's football program, the progress it has made. So let's not derail that progress we have made and the goodwill that have been generated from the girls' stellar performance in the World Cup. Let's try to expand upon that and move it forward. And we are going to benefit in terms of brand Jamaica. So my hope is that we can get some egos can be put aside, talking to you, Mr. Speed, and that we can get some compromise in all of this, and we can work as a collective and one body. And football can be an example for the larger country, which have its own challenges, to move us forward. So I ask Strong and Speed and Mr. Ricketts, because I think he's a little bit older than me. I only call people older than me by the Mr. title, that they can all work as a collective to achieve a common cause. So you have been with I Am Sure Sports. It's the sports with most authentic, I'm getting myself in trouble, most authentic, try to make sure they give you facts and valued perspective and opinion, and try to bring you what you request, what you desire, and topics that we think you'd like to know about. So thanks for being with us. It's been a long show. It's almost 4 hours. I can't believe it. And I'm going to bed at 4 now to get up at 4:30. But we appreciate you being with us. It's great you join us. And we welcome you. And when Management does have another future program, which normally is daily at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which he gets confused on sometimes. So thanks for being with us and have a good night. Peace out.
Yo, watch about dog, SK New heard this. The body out there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Rios, Galtigo Bay. Everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like? Ha. Yeah, someone on for the food from young, from where they knee height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.